Bar, located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys?
Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths in South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business, car key replacements, and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Hope all of you are doing well. Welcome aboard to the program. Coming to you live from Hialeah Park. Let me put this on so I can actually hear myself. With all the craziness going on, we got the second floor poker room. Everybody's out here. We told you, Thursdays now, it's happy hour time. So come on out here and join us here at Hialeah Park every Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. So we are locked and loaded. We got a bunch of guests today. Got a bunch of things to talk about. Chad is running the show today, so this is a big day today because Chad is running the show today, right? So he's taking that next step forward now here on the platform. He is running it today, baby. I love it. So we good. We gave Sean a little bit of a day, like a couple of hours off, just a couple of hours. That's what we're gonna do with Sean. So we are ready. We got a loaded guest list for you. Franco Panizo is going to stop by at 4 o'clock to talk about that huge Inter win last night. That was so fun, man. The crushing part was Campana getting injured. But, man, just to start off the match with that goal, that boot, and get it right over the goalie and surprise him, that was fantastic within the first minute. And that put the heat on Orlando right from the get-go. Then they took a comfortable 4-1 lead. And, yeah, Orlando got one like in the – I believe it was like the 75th minute or something like that. And but, you know, as long as they kept them at bay, they were gonna win that game. So we'll talk to Franco about that and also the playoffs. Craig Mish will step into the batter's box with him. The Marlins season is over. The MLB playoffs start in a couple days. There's a lot of things to talk about with Craig. We'll go over that. Alan Poupar will stop by for his weekly segment so we can talk a little Dolphins as they get ready for the New York Jets. So you got all of that going on. Hope everything is going well out there. Let's see on the chat board. Looks like everybody is happy. Doesn't seem like anybody is complaining about the sound or anything like that, right? So I see Steve Chapman in and Brian Walters is in. Says hi, Sean and Big O in chat. And everybody, I see the betting odds that Howard is not listed. I guess he is playing. He'll probably try to play because he had 10 days. Depends on how bad that injury is. If it's a little bit of a tweak, then maybe you got to be careful with that because the groin, the hamstring, these are things that can linger all season long if you don't allow it to get healthy. Big O, I did not realize that the good Kendrick Bibb was when he played for the Heat. I saw him last night for the Lakers. Look good. Kendrick Bibb. Oh, you mean Kendrick Nunn. Well, remember, Nunn is a very streaky player, okay? And they did trade the Taylor Horton whatever guy, right? The guy with the 3 names. And he's actually – I like that guy, actually. He was a nice little find for them that they were developing off the bench. Keith Giles says, good afternoon, everybody. Did anybody see the doctor that says Tua has permanent brain damage? Yeah, whatever. It's just let's get into a little bit of this because, first of all, the whole thing with the doctor, I just think there's so many of you that are just full of shit, including the doctor. Okay? Is the doctor telling the race car driver not to, go round and round at 220 miles an hour? I'm just wondering. This is what they signed up for. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what Joe Burrow just said. In fact, Chad, why don't you pull it up for me here on the Joe Burrow one? If you're not, I can pull it up. You tell me, Chad. If not, I'll pull it up from here. But Joe Burrow was asked about, concussions and all that kind of stuff. And you got to see what Alex Smith and Joe Burrow have said in the last 24 hours now, that's all come out. And I'm not telling you that it's right or wrong, okay? You can go however you want to look at it. But you're not a flying Walinda, right? And does the doctor keep telling that, hey, the Walindas, you shouldn't be, walking on a high wire. You might fall and die. I don't think so, right? I don't think they're telling anybody that. Anybody go and tell the people that are running in front of the bulls, hey, you might just get a horn in your ass. I mean, get off your high horses already. They all know what the hell they got into. It's football. It's a gladiator sport. I mean, this is what you signed up for. This is who you are. Oh, quit. Why? That's not what you love to do. There are a lot of people, man, that they do a bunch of dangerous jobs. We have police officers every day that their families have no idea if they're coming back at the end of the day. Anybody telling police officers? Because let me tell you something. Considering what they pay police officers, I would never be a police officer. Ever. Those ladies and gentlemen don't get paid enough for what they do. As It's probably why we end up with a bunch of corrupt ones, too. I mean, there's all kinds of work. So for, many of you have repeated the same stupid comment from that doctor. Okay, the doctor did not choose to play or work in a career that's dangerous. Okay, he doesn't want to be a surfer. Are you telling surfers to stop surfing? Because when they get caught on one of those giant waves inside coral, that ain't going to be fun, buddy. They could die, they could get paralyzed, they could break bones, they could get eaten by sharks. Anybody telling surfers not to surf? Anybody telling a surfer not to surf that 75-foot wave? Anybody? Bueller. It's just, it gets to a point. Get off your high horses. Get off your soapboxes. They signed up for this. Chad, pull up the article for me for Joe Burrow there. I mean, the video there of Joe Burrow, right? If you can.
Yeah, I'm working on it now.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's Joe Burrow, you look at it, and here's a guy that brutally honest about what's happened to him as a player, okay? And talking about how he has blacked out in games. He's suffered concussions in games and stayed in games. They've all done it. Some of you make it sound like, Cameron Brate just did it this weekend where he got leveled and went right back into the game after. This is what they choose to do. This is their lives, not yours. Not that little doctor that says, "Oh, quit." Well, my brother, you don't have the balls to do what he does. That's all. And it's crazy to play football. You really have a screw loose if you play football, but you better be a tough guy if you're going to play football. And you and I aren't tough enough. We're not athletic enough, and we're not good enough to play in the NFL. But I bet you that some of you would risk the injuries and all of that to make the money that they're going to make in the NFL. But I just love how some people want to control others' lives, and there are people putting their lives at risk all the time. And nobody says anything about anything else except now for Tua. Tua knows what he's getting into. There it is. Play the video, man. Fire it off.
You have.
Yeah, I think everybody has that plays this game.
Take me to the moment. What is it like? I don't know.
It's hard to say. Just
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving.
Okay. Go ahead.
From a concussion, like I've been hit and got the rest of the game before. That's happened a couple of times, but I've never had one where I have headaches for like a week and I have symptoms of concussion after the game. Like I said, I've had some where I don't remember the second half, or I don't remember the entire game, or I know that I got a little dizzy at one point, but nothing long lasting.
So, I mean, that's pretty remarkable, Joe, for somebody with your mind, that whether it was high school or college, that you don't remember a second half. Like, when you look back at that, does that create anxiety for you? Or do you believe it's going to happen if you're a quarterback 2 or 3 times in your career?
I think you can make all the rules you want to make the game as safe as you possibly can, but there's an inherent risk and danger with the game of football. You have 300-pound men running 20 miles an hour trying to take your head off while you're standing still trying to ignore it and find receivers that are open, and then sometimes you got to go run and try to get a first down. You're running 20 miles an hour and somebody else is running 22 miles an hour, and you got to try to get the first down. That's part of the game, I think. Part of what we signed up for. You're going to have head injuries. You're going to tear your ACL. You're going to break your arm. That's the game that we play. That's the life that we live, and we get paid handsomely for it. And so I think going into every game and you know, we know what we're getting ourselves into.
There is no way you're ever going to make this game safe. You're going to have to make it two-hand touch is what's going to end up happening. That's the only way this is going to happen is, you know, two-hand touch. And he said it. He signed up for it. They know the inherent risks. They hide, you know, concussions all the time. They hide what hurts. They got to play. They got to make money. Just like the coal miners got to make money. Just like a ton of people that work all kinds of really dangerous jobs, they just got to make money. It's just one of those things that we get on this soapbox like we're shocked. And this has been going on forever. Let me read the Alex Smith one to follow up on Joe Burrow, okay? So Alex Smith also has detailed some of the issues he's dealt with in protocol. And he says he suffered a concussion in the 49ers in 2012 and was replaced by Colin Kaepernick. He goes, I feel like I'm just starting to reach my potential, and we're playing the Rams. I took a really unnecessary but a great hit to the back of the head, Smith said. I tried to jump up and act like it didn't faze me. And I did. I popped right back up and acted like nothing happened and continued to play. Smith felt fine at first, but stated he realized something was not right a few plays later. He was hiding symptoms at that point until a quarterback sneak made it impossible to do that. We're driving and completing passes and going, and then we run a QB sneak, Smith said. I hate QB sneaks because of this. Pablo, I go down, I hit the ground, kind of diving, and boom, instantly, kind of what I would call a star in my vision. He's talking to Pablo Torre, by the way. And then he says, later in his 14-year career, Smith suffered another concussion in 2016 as a member of the Chiefs. Smith took a hard hit to the head and was removed from the game, forced to undergo a series of tests to determine whether he had suffered a concussion. He said, I felt great, Smith said about the immediate aftermath of the concussion while he was playing Kansas City. I went back in the game. Here's a coach I have a ton of respect for, has coached football as long as anybody, right? The experts cleared me. I passed the metric of a concussion that I got through. And similarly to Tua, I shouldn't have gone back into the game. He passed the test and was allowed to return to the field later in the game. Clearly, the NFL needs to put the protocol in place to take any decisions away from players. It's about winning, man. It's about winning. It's about not losing a job. You know, you get injured and you leave, and the person that fills in for you all of a sudden kicks ass, and you're Wally Pipp. And it's, you know, if you don't know the story, go ahead and look it up. But it's just one of those deals that there's a lot of pressure on everybody. It's not just football. You know, I know people in radio years ago, not anymore now because there's nobody left in radio. But years ago when we had a lot of people, I knew one specific gentleman that did not like to take a lot of vacations because he was afraid he would lose his job. That's crazy, dude. But that's the kind of pressure that there is. So, oh my God, oh, then they think I'm injury prone. Oh, they're not going to re-sign me. Oh, they're not going to I'm going to be viewed that I'm not tough enough. Oh, I may lose my job. Oh, I'm not going to reach my incentives. There's a lot of things that are going through their minds. And that's why when you see this whole mess, and it is a mess, but while the NFL and the NFLPA and the doctors and all that, you want to, lay some blame, the players are the first ones that want to be put in this position. And a lot of these guys from, years past, you ask them, would you do it all over again? No matter all the pains and suffering that they're going through, and they're all going to say, yeah, I would do it again. It's crazy. But again, ladies and gentlemen, you and I aren't talented enough aren't good enough, maybe even tough enough to play in that league. And so we would never have to think about that decision. But they have the, I don't know if you call it good fortunes or not or whatever, because some of these guys do get to live till a very old age. Some of them don't. But most of them will risk this over and over and over again, because those moments of being a gladiator in that stadium is what keeps them on that edge. It's funny. I'm glad we have the edge, because that's kind of, you got to have an edge if you got to play football. And it's an edge that you and I don't have. You may have it in a courtroom. You may have it in a classroom. You may have it in a corporate, environment. You may have it. You may be an artist. You may have that edge there. This is where they have their edge. And it takes a different human being to do this. But, Tua quit. Come on, man. That's just some stupid shit. That's just ridiculous. You can't tell somebody that does what they love, no matter what risks they're putting themselves through, they want to keep doing it. An MMA fighter, don't you think that you talk about football? You know how many concussions must go on in the octagon? You have any idea? You ever watch these people try to make weight every time for a fight? The torture that they put their body through to make weight? Anybody ever watch any of that stuff? Yeah, I love how people want to dictate how others should live. To me, that's the part I find absolutely hilarious. So I'm going to tell the MMA fighter, come on, dude, or woman, your body's not going to be the same. You're going to suffer a crap ton of concussions. Don't do it. Because in the MMA, I am sure that there's probably at least one concussion in every fight almost at one point or another, and they're shaking it off in between rounds. Okay, because there's no way that you're not concussed when they pound you in the head a whole bunch of times, dude. Are you kidding me? Look how your ears end up. What the hell do you think is happening to the rest of your body? Nobody's telling MMA fighters not to fight. And that is a brutal way to earn a living. Brutal. And hell, now we have bare knuckle. Okay? That's growing now, bare knuckle. Anybody telling the bare knuckle fighters not to do it? Because something tells me bare knuckle fighting is, probably not a good idea. But there they are. You can tell a wrestler not to make any money? Tell them, no, dude, why? Because it's normal to, throw yourself off the top of a 30-foot cage? Okay, I'm sorry. Not 30. They do 20, 25? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, of course. And land on another human being. No, that's of course. Yeah, nobody ever dies in a wrestling ring. No, that never happens. Nobody ever gets injured or really all screwed up in a wrestling. No, it never happens. Oh, and those wrestlers, when they retire, oh, God, they look beautiful. They're in perfect shape. Their bodies are completely intact. They don't have any kind of health ailments whatsoever. Anybody telling a wrestler not to make a living that way? And you think they don't suffer concussions too? I bet they do. So convenient. You know why? Because football's God. It's the sport that dominates all. So this is why it gets all this ridiculous attention when there are a ton of other people doing all kinds of dangerous stuff and we don't tell them to quit. So that's where I would tell that doctor, hey, brother, stay with what you do. You're a doctor. Don't tell other people what to do with their lives. It's what makes them happy.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
question. Do you think people are still going to question Tua's toughness after coming back from a concussion? I had to ask.
Dude, I've never questioned. That's the weirdest thing, because you and I know that most of us would have his hip injury. We would never go back to play a contact sport after that hip injury. In fact, most of us would struggle just to go to work every day. And that guy went back to the NFL after blowing out a hip. And he's come back from that hip to play at an incredibly high level. And in between that, he had to break his ribs and his knuckle along the way. To me, Tua is actually one of the toughest athletes I have ever seen, because he's not a big guy, and he's had 2 blown ankles that now are wired with Kevlar. So he strengthened those ankles so it wouldn't happen again to him. He blows out a hip, okay, breaks ribs, fractures a finger in his throwing hand, and the kid never says die. And then he got easily concussed in that first half in Buffalo and comes back in the second half to drop the kill shot. I mean, Chad, at this point, you've got to be like the absolute biggest hater in the world / moron if you question Tua's toughness, because I'm not a tenth as tough as that guy, considering all the crap he's gone through. And he's willing to go right back to it. Impressive. I got nothing but respect for Tua Tagovailoa. Big O, as a roofer, I have a coworker 8 feet and die, and it was eye-opening moment for me, but I'm still roofing 15 years later. Anybody going to tell a roofer to stop? Anybody going to tell a construction worker in a skyscraper? How about that, Chad? I could get you a job, bro, working on skyscrapers, so you can go bouncing around from one little slit to another and all that around the building. Would you like to do that, Chad? 50, 60, 70 floors up in the air like those guys?
Let me go ahead and talk with my wife and see if she'll allow that one.
Is that doctor telling them that, hey, that's not healthy? I mean, give me a break. And Isaiah's right. Isaiah works a risky job. You're on a roof every day? Buddy, you're risking your ass every day you're on a roof. Every day. Oh, think how we absolve ourselves of watching others get hurt for our entertainment. Since the Roman gladiators, my friend. And you know what I've said for years? NFL players are just like Roman gladiators. The difference is we don't watch them die in the stadium like we watch the Roman gladiators. Not we, but back then. They're fighting a lion or whatever the hell it is, and they die right there in the Coliseum. The difference is they beat themselves up to a pulp, and then they go and die behind the scenes with their family members. They're the ones that absorb all of the – we forget about Earl Campbell, and we forget about Jim McMahon. We don't care about Mike Webster. We don't care about any of them. We only care about them when they're on the field. Once they retire, we forget about them, and we move on. We're animals. We're animals is what we are. So, yeah, they're doing it for our entertainment just like the Roman days. If you think Tua's not tough enough to be in the NFL, you need to seek help. Oh, yeah, man. I'm with CT and boxing, yet we cheer for the 12th round. Fritter, we used to have 15. Okay. All right. It was 15 rounds, the championship fights back in the day, and we're cheering them on. Every time you get in your car, your life is at risk, yet we still drive. Amen. Get on I-95. Now, by the way, on the Edge energy drink, delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste. Make sure you order it right there. Use our code BIG-O and get 10% off. We love Edge energy drink. Now, let me get into something disturbing now. Let me get into something that I'm now concerned about. I'm really concerned about Tua Tagovailoa. And I'll get the video ready there, Chad. I don't know. Look, I've watched Tua now get hurt several times, and we talked about this already, right? We talked about it yesterday. His first ankle injury, he took 3.89 seconds. His second one, 4.55 seconds. His hip, 5 seconds. His concussion here on Thursday night, 5 seconds. So while everybody else wants to get on their high horses and blame the NFL and the NFLPA and all this, that, whatever, as I've said before, I blame Tua and nobody else. There's no one to blame but Tua. And why? Because Tua needs to learn how to play the game without taking hits, unnecessary hits. And that's what's happening because he's hanging on to the ball. And so I'm wondering, will he learn? Right? Well, let's play a video for you right now, okay? And in this video, you're going to see Tua Tagovailoa, a very young Tua Tagovailoa, who's clearly in high school, and he's talking about the physical punishment in football and how he takes on hits. I want you to listen to this, okay?
I think he's probably like the middle of the road where he's hard on you guys, but he backs off when
he's
necessary.
understanding.
He seems like that.
He's understanding.
But I don't know. I don't live in the house.
He's understanding, but he's very, very strict with a lot of things. But he's very understanding. That's what I love so much about my dad. You know, whether I do something bad, as long as I make him understand as to why, you know, I kind of did it. Like, running the ball, and if I hit somebody, oh my gosh. When I get in the car, you don't hear the end of it. My dad gets so mad at me. Mm-hmm. I tell him, I don't know how to slide. He tells me to practice sliding. And I tell him, okay. And then the next time I do it again, oh gosh. That's when I get disciplined.
Yeah. Well, Michael Vick learned to slide. Yeah, he ran a 4.3 or 4.2. So okay.
4.2, I think.
Yeah. But he was never a big guy. You're getting, you're pretty thick. So he had to do it, or he would have gotten crumbled.
So the old man has been ripping into him since he was in high school about taking hits. He hasn't learned. And the old man's ripping him. I saw that video a listener sent, and I'm sorry, sir, I forgot your name now. I should have written it down. And thank you for sending me that video. And I saw that video, and I was floored yesterday when I saw that video. Because I'm like, okay, so then this has been a problem for him forever, and he refuses to correct it. And he will continue to play hero ball. And I'm bothered by it. I'm bothered by it because he's not going to last in this league. Nobody lasts in this league. Andrew Luck had to leave. Eventually, Tim Tebow's last game, they punctured his lung, broke his ribs. Tim Tebow was thick. Okay, Tim Tebow was not a small guy. He was a really strong guy, incredible shape. They busted his ribs and punctured his lung in his final game in the NFL. They've broken down Cam Newton. They will break the biggest men down in this league. And somehow or another, Tua seems to find himself in this position over and over and over again. And it's been a problem that clearly his dad has harped on him since he was a young kid. And somehow or another, no matter how much pain he's gone through, how much rehab he's experienced, notice the hip. That was your entire life, your career on the line. You overcame it, and yet you still put yourself in positions where you can get, throttled. Doesn't make any sense to me. And I saw that video and I was like, damn, dude. Look at him. Young buck there. Really young Tua, man. And the issues that we're talking about right now, his dad's been ripping into him since that day. And he won't learn. I really feel for the young man because he's a great young man. He's a perfect person to have in the NFL. He's a great example for kids everywhere. He carries himself the right way, and he can play. And he's the best quarterback that the Dolphins have had since Marino. He's a legitimate franchise quarterback. And he is going to shorten his career because he refuses to take care of his body. Sucks, man. I got to tell you. Watching that video, very, very disappointed into it. And I'm hoping he figures it out. Yes, sir.
Just to lighten up your spirits, Big O, Arsenal is up right now 2-0 against Bodo Glimt in the UEFA Champions qualifying round. So
nice.
I know you're kind of down, but I figured as Arsenal fans, we'll give the live update. It's 2-0 Arsenal, Eddie Nketiah goal and a Rob Holding goal. Let's go.
I love it. Love it. Man, the boys are playing out of this world. I'll watch that game when I get home. Vader's daddy says, I'm worried too. He rolls out and then heads back to where all the linemen are to extend the play. All he had to do was keep heading to the sideline on that play. Big O, on a happier note, I look forward to your show with Doug every week. Great content. I hope one day Reese and Doug and yourself do a show. Anytime, man. I'll do it with those guys anytime, man. I got nothing but love for Doug and for Reese. They do an excellent job. Mike Honcho says, good afternoon, Big O. Please tell me why I shouldn't worry about the Jets. Mike, you should worry about every team. Without Tua, it's going to be like pulling teeth to win any game. Our team is back to what we've seen for 20 years. The gritty little team with the mediocre quarterback that kind of needs everything to go their way to win that day and yada, 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 and all that stuff. That's what they are with Teddy, what they've been for years now. Pretty good defense, some talent on there, but you don't really have the quarterback that puts you over the top. So it's not a Jet thing because I don't think the Jets are that good, but I don't think the Dolphins are that good without Tua. I think they're a middling team without Tua. So when you have a franchise quarterback, it makes a whole bunch of difference, dude. It elevates everybody. And I love Teddy the person. The quarterback, nothing special. You just hope he can manage the game and not turn it over. That's all. Hunter Long is back this week. Well, I wish it was Tua, not Hunter Long. Hunter Long is not going to make me feel better about beating the Jets. Miles Deep says, what's up, Big O? Fins up, heat around the corner, and Panthers can't wait. Yep. Amen to that. Fulgencio is in. Tony Zagala says McDaniel needs to yell into Tua's earpiece after 3 seconds to throw the ball away. Problem is, Tony, the headsets go off at the 15-second mark. So once the game clock hits 15 seconds, you can't talk to your quarterback anymore. So he's on his own. That's when it's all done. So, yeah, unfortunately, he can't help. Like I said, said it last week. On Friday, I think I said I was joking around on Friday with this. We got to get a shock collar. Okay, you know those people, I would never do it, but don't do that. But some do it. They put shock collars on dogs to kind of teach them certain things that they're not supposed to do, right? We put a shock collar on Tua. And McDaniel's on the sidelines. Get rid of it! Tua's such a tough son of a bitch that he'll learn to absorb the shock and then hold on to the ball. So, yeah. Miami will be fine, bros. Let's go. We had worse QB playing than Teddy. I'm not miles deep. They've had plenty of guys that are just like Teddy. Teddy's There's nothing special there. Please. Put it this way. I probably would still rather have Fiedler. Okay? Than Teddy. Just you know. Bigger body, can run actually. You know, neither one had a great arm anyway. So we've had better than Teddy or just equal. Nothing special. Great young man. What you want is that brain in that meeting room. Don't really want the player really on the field that much. But yeah, no choice now. Big O2 also needs to run and slide if there's a lane open in the field when it breaks down. Super B, I don't care what he does, dude. Run, slide, throw the ball away, avoid hits. I don't care what he has to do, Super B. Just don't take hits. So to me, that's the key right now. Don't take hits. Big O, I think Sunday McDaniel really earns his contract. He was brought to be the coach for the long haul. Well, we've talked about that. It's up to him now these next couple of games because I think Tua will miss the next 2 games at least. And yes, they're going to need to they're going to need some creativity. Okay, that's what they're going to need. Some serious creativity. By the way, Hijinks Sports Grill up in Boca, proud sponsor here of the program and, of course, of Joe Shad's fantastic updates with the Miami Dolphins. They've got gorgeous bartenders, and they should because some of them are former Dolphin cheerleaders or current Dolphin cheerleaders. You should go to Hijinks Sports Grill, go to the Instagram page, and then just say, well, thank you, O. And I'm going to say, you're welcome. Because that's what's going to happen after you go to Hijinks Sports Grill Instagram page. You're going to go, wow, this is one of the best looking Instagram pages I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, you should because the women are absolutely smoking.
And thank you, Lo, because you did. Thank you because you did tell me to do that. So I just want to confirm that for people. Thank you for letting me know about that page.
They've got award-winning wings. Joe talks about them all the time. I haven't tried them yet, but he loves them. They've got 55-inch televisions. You can drink and have bucket specials during all games. So make sure you get on down to hijinkssportsgrill.com. Check it out. Happy hour, as you can see there, 4 to 7 p.m. And you can also reserve a table ahead of time. And they'll have a sparkling glass of champagne for you when you get there. So there you go. Hijinks Sports Grill. Check it out. All right, if you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line, that's 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line, you can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Byron Jones, got to be concerned about this one now, folks. You know, they the one thing we have now learned with Mike McDaniel, and it's not anything new with any coach, but he's certainly not even going to be close to being honest about injuries. And with Byron Jones, they kept telling us that he was going to be ready for the regular season, and he's not even ready after 4 more weeks. And to me, that's disturbing as hell. And it's an Achilles injury in a corner. I'm wondering, not that they're going to tell us, I'm wondering if he suffered any kind of a setback. It's tough. But that is one, I hope X plays. Because it's just not going to be easy for any of them to overcome any quarterback without those 2 corners. Now, I know they're going to blitz the hell out of Zach and all that. I was thinking about this. Isn't this the day or the week where you sign a lot of hot older women? Because that's what I would do. I would sign a bunch of MILFs and have them rush Zach. Because I think Zach will just wait for sacks. Right? And what you can do is have a nice rotation. And, you know, that way he has a smorgasbord of women. So if any of you would like to, you know, volunteer some moms out there for the Dolphin game, that might be something. I'm telling you. What we should do also, the Dolphins should bring their own cheerleaders, but they're all MILFs. Not the beautiful young ones that are working over at Hijinks. No. I'm talking about go hire some MILFs, and then they need to cheer like the replacement cheerleaders do, right, on the sidelines there. And I know they're on the road, so they're not allowed to bring their own cheerleaders, but you got to sneak them in. And then that'll keep Zach busy also, because he looks at the Dolphin sidelines and he sees a bunch of MILFs. MILFs rushing him, MILFs on the sidelines, cheering, all that. I think that would like confuse the hell out of the kid. Obviously, he would be thinking with other things, and you got him right where you want. It'll look like that DirecTV commercial with those what are those people, those housewives or whatever. It'll look just like that. That's what you got to do. And you saw how Dak got knocked out. That is exactly how Zach Wilson's going to look. Like Dak getting, tackled by one of those housewives. By the way, why does anybody watch any of that stuff? I'm just wondering. Housewives of Orange County, New Jersey, Atlanta, Miami, I don't know, whatever. How is that show entertaining? Why would anybody, it's like watching, Love and Hip Hop or whatever. It's like all these silly ass reality shows, man. And all of them look like just a bunch of clowns. It just looks like a bunch of buffoonery. I'm not. We're a pretty sad society when we're watching, housewives and basketball wives and Love and Hip Hop and all these crappy bachelorettes. Well, I know I'm probably insulting some of you out there, but to me, that programming is just brutal. I know some of you are probably stuck because some of your wives or girlfriends are forcing you to watch that shit. Man, oh my God. MILFs, not GILFs, Chase. Okay. No, it's got to be a MILF, not a GILF. Got to go MILF. Never watched more than 30 seconds of any housewives. I couldn't watch any of those shows. None of them, bro. Any of those reality shows. The only reality shows I like to watch are sports. Those are my reality shows. Football game, a basketball game, a hockey game, a baseball game, a soccer game. That's the reality show I like to watch. Orlando, I have faith that Tua will figure out his thought process on those kind of plays. Tua's development has shown, what is this? Kinesthetic? What is this? Kinesthetic learning? Anyway, abilities which give hope that his mind will recode his brain. Well, Fuencio, with all of that stuff and the word there that I can't pronounce, why hasn't it happened from high school till now? So you play a couple of years of high school. You play, what was it? Was it 4 years or 3 years in college? What was it? 4 or 3 or whatever. And now you're 3 more in the NFL. So you haven't learned the entire time. Why would you learn now? See, the problem with your statement, Fuencio, is there's no proof. There's zero proof that he is going to adjust. So you're just guessing. You're just praying. You're just throwing a coin in the, well, and you're wishing. But there is zero track record that shows that he has learned not to take hits. Zero. There is no indications whatsoever. So you can guess, you can hope, you can wish, but you have zero proof on that. And it's disturbing for me. Because I just think like he's not going to learn. That's my problem with all of this. There we go. Big O, you need to see the movie Idiocracy. What's in it? This week we should be concerned with our defense back play. How about Morgana the Kissing Bandit? You know, Morgana was not hot at all. Have you gone back to watch that, by the way? Like, she just had like a pair of ginormous jugs, and that's it. There was nothing else about that woman. She had no body. And I mean, the body, like she had she was like square. Her looks weren't that good. She had a terrible haircut. I know it was the haircut of those days. She looked like one of the ladies from the B-52s. But it really, Morgana the Kissing Bandit was not really an attractive woman. It was just about her running out onto the field with those, jugs that might have killed her if it hit her face. And that's it. It was one of those things. Morgana was very, very overrated. Incredibly overrated. Because in Alabama he had a powerful offensive line. However, in Miami he has Flores. I don't know what that means, Rosendo. Do you think he will change, Big O? No, I don't. I'm terrified of it now. I'm terrified that he's not going to change. I mean, dude, you didn't learn your lesson after the hip? Think about that. You would figure that that's the nail in the coffin for Tua. Like, okay, you blew out your hip, your entire career is on the line. Well, luckily, you're able to continue your career, and yet I'm going to continue to take hits, and I'm going to continue to extend plays. I'm going to continue to put myself at risk for injury or turnover. Sucks. So yeah, no, I need to see it before I believe it now at this point. That video to me was everything. Like, his dad was ripping into him since he was a kid. His dad. The guy he has an incredible relationship with. Think about that. So his dad can't reach him. You think his dad didn't rip into him after he blew out one foot? Think his dad didn't rip into him after he blew out the second foot? You think his dad didn't rip into him after he blew out his hip? Yeah, probably. Because that's what he does. He's a tough dude. And think about it. Tua has an incredible family base. An awesome family base. They love him. They support him. They're there and everything. I mean, it's a great family. And the old man can't reach him. So, yeah, I'm concerned. I'm concerned in a big-time way.
Oh, do you think that could be something to do with, like, as children or kids, you want to show your parents wrong? Like, maybe trying to show his dad, look, I can do this. Like, you think that could be some of that there?
I don't know. I mean, let me tell you, even in the interview, the guy was like, well, no, you're a little bigger than Michael Vick. No, dude, neither one of them can take hits. They're not made to take hits. I mean, that was a stupid part of the interviewer when he was saying that. God, I mean, I hope not, Chad, because how many times are you going to lose that race and still think that you can do it? That's my problem with it. Tua's not a guy that's going to win collisions. That's not what he's made there to be. Michael Vick wasn't going to collide with you, and neither was Joe Montana. And neither is Drew Brees. They're going to stay away from you. That's what they're going to do. That's what smart quarterbacks do. They stay away from the big hit. So, yeah, it's scary, man. I'm telling you, it is scary. Let me tell you a little bit about Cutter's Edge. We love talking about Cutter's Edge. Great people at Cutter's Edge. 954-472-0622. And they do it all, folks. You name it, they do it, okay? Tree trimming removals, landscape design, outdoor lighting, irrigation design and build, synthetic turf. Can't tell you enough about that. My dogs love the synthetic turf. My wife loves the synthetic turf because the dogs now come in and out of the house and they bring no dirt. You know, I got a video out there with one of my little dogs, Ollie, and it shows him rolling around in the artificial turf. And it's, you know, it's a lot different being in the artificial turf than in the regular grass and dirt, that all of a sudden you start bringing that mud, or your dogs get all that stuff stuck to them when they're rolling around in that grass and dirt. It's just a much cleaner environment for your dog, a healthier environment for your dog. You should check it out. Artificial turf. One, listen, if you even without dogs, it looks great. It's a super clean look, and you're saving yourself a ton of money in the long run. You no longer have to cut the grass, and you no longer have to also water the grass. So that is an enormous advantage. And the way Cutter's Edge Pro does it, I mean, it's impeccable and it drains beautifully too. So I've already watched it over the last couple of weeks with some of the heavy rains, and it has drained so well, folks. So whether you're looking for artificial turf, you want to redesign your front and backyards, remember, if you have no landscaping and you really want to build more value for your home, this is a way of building a lot of value for your home by creating an environment in the front and the backyard that just changes the look of your home. Please call William and call Mike. Tell them that Big O sent you. Go to the website, cuttersedgepro.com. Check them out on Instagram, 954-472-0622. D. Wolverine, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. He says, Big O now with a wife, he may actually listen. It's a different added life event, so that perhaps what he needed to get him actually to understand. That's a great point, dude. That's our last hope. That's a great call on your part. Because if he doesn't listen to the old man, and I mean, we've seen Tua. He loves his father. He loves his parents. He loves his family. He honors his family, bro. It's a great family. You can tell that there's a real bond there, right? But still, he won't listen to him. So you're right. Maybe the wife says, hey, you can't do this. I need you 10, 20, 30 years from now. If we're going to have children, you got to be around. You got to take care of yourself. So I think that's kind of the trick, too, that maybe that helps. It's a good call. I like that. That might be the last bit of hope to save Tua from himself overall. Oh, the last time we played Wilson with pressure, he evaded like no other. With the lack of depth at corner, would it be better to not rush and try to play more of a zone D and have him make the mistakes? I think he'll make the mistakes, dude. I just think that this team is much better now, I think, than the last time they played him, except for the secondary, of course. That you're right about that the secondary is a little bit of a problem overall. But I think you do have to rush him. I think you have to force the issue. I think you have to try to make him uncomfortable. I really believe that. So I don't think you allow any quarterback to sit back there and give him any time. I think if you can rush him, dude, they rush everybody. They rush great quarterbacks. So they're going to get after this kid. You have to get after him. I think you can force. I'm not a Zach guy. I'm not a Zach Wilson believer. So maybe that's why I'm a little biased. Okay, maybe I'm wrong about Zach Wilson. Maybe he turns into a heck of a quarterback. I don't think he's going to turn into a heck of a quarterback. I think he's going to be kind of one of those irresponsible gunslinging type dudes. And I think he's going to end up making a bunch of mistakes throughout his short career, and then he'll be out of football. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. You never know. Let's see. Darth Cater time. Yes, it better be. Big O, I said that about the wife, just a few messages above. Well, you guys might be honest. I didn't think about that. That's a really good one on your part. It's a really good one. I like that one. Because the wife can, the wife always has influence. Always. I mean, if you love your wife, you respect your wife, and and you want to make her happy. And there are things. One thing I know about this, because I'm a husband too. You don't ever really want your wife to be concerned. That's our job as husbands, as fathers. Our job is to absorb the concerns. Our job is to absorb the negativity and the responsibilities and anything like that. Our job is to shelter our families from any of those kind of things. And if what we're doing is just, putting more of it on their plate, then you're not doing good as a husband, as a father of your household. So, because to me, it's all right for us to worry, right? But I don't want my daughter, my son, not that I have a son, but I'm just saying, if I had kids, both, I mean, I have a daughter, but I wouldn't want my kids worrying about me, and I wouldn't want my wife worrying about me. I always want them to feel comfortable. And I think all of us as fathers, or most of us, as fathers and husbands, I think we try to do that as much as possible. We can be thrown under the bus. We can go through the rough time. But as long as we do it and they don't, it's all right. It's for a lack of a better term, we have to take the bullet, not them. That's our job. And by Tua playing like this, his wife's taking the bullet. I still remember, almost 5 years ago, this November will be 5 years, and I almost had a heart attack, and I felt like my heart was going to explode. I had two of my arteries that were clogged up about 97%, something like that. And I needed stents in it. And I have 3 stents in one artery and 2 in another. And I remember that while I was in the hospital room and my heart felt like it was about to just come right out of my chest. It's the scariest thing in the world when you feel, it's because your heart is working so hard because there's so little blood going through it. And I'm telling the doctors, hey, I don't feel good. Like my chest is exploding, and they're talking about how to treat me quickly and how to get me to the operating room and all that. But the doctors are huddled discussing this, right? And they're calmly telling me, relax, you'll be all right. And dude, my chest is, I swear to you, I thought I was going to die. I swear to you, I thought my heart was just going to come right out of my chest. And I wasn't crying or anything like that, but I was, it had me going, and I couldn't hide it. You know what I mean? It was like one of those whoa, hey, is this normal? I'm not, and my wife was just to the right, and she was terrified. And she's terrified. Terrified that she might watch her husband die right in front of her. So I would imagine that that's kind of put, Tua's wife in a little bit of a rough patch too, because it's only normal. All right, folks, 1 hour down. We got 2 more to go. Let's switch gears. Last night, a South Florida team made the playoffs. Let's get into that with Franco Panizo in hour number 2 of the Big O radio show, live from beautiful Hialeah Park. It's happy hour out here every Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. Come on out here. By the way, they're giving away a Ford F-150 Lightning. All you got to do is play the games downstairs. They've got hundreds and hundreds of slot machines downstairs. You play any of those gaming machines, you automatically enter into the raffle, and you might be able to win one beautiful truck. So come on out here and check it out, Hialeah Park. Let's take a quick break. Hour number 2, and Franco Panizo next.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Ready, hour number 2 of the program. There he is, Franco Panizo with the blue skies. Where you at, man?
It's a picture. It's a picture of how things are at Inter Miami land right now.
Yes. And what a way to start last night, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that little boot by Campana, that was absolutely fantastic. And I'm happy for them, man, because, you know, for a moment there, a couple of weeks ago, they kind of got into a little funk, and I was afraid that they were going to fall out of it. You know what I mean? And somehow or another, they were able to hang on and kind of straighten things out and finish the season strong. So I was glad for that. First of all, Franco, talk to us about how the playoff standings work now, what's left, because they've got one more game left, and how it could affect the standings.
So they're qualified. They're in.
Right.
Playoffs are a sure thing. They could finish 4th, which would give them a home playoff game. They win this weekend and get outside results. So now we'll say that that's what they're going to aim to do. I imagine that's true to some extent, but at the same time, they have to, try to keep certain players healthy, certain players fresh, because, listen, the games that really matter will be the playoff games.
Right.
Sunday will help you in terms of table and positioning and all that, but, like you've seen and like Phil Noah pointed out last night, Gonzalo Higuain right now is the only striker on the roster. So, he said you got to take care of Gonzalo. So, they'll go for it, I'm sure, but also be smart and manage it, throughout the 90 minutes.
By the way, Franco does a terrific job with Miami Total Football, the podcast dedicated to Inter Miami. Make sure you subscribe to it if you're an Inter Miami fan. It is a must listen. Great information as always and great perspective on the game. Franco, before I get to all the good stuff, let me get the bad stuff out of the way. Campana, bro, I love what he's done, but he's got to find a way to take care of his body because the dude is very injury prone. And so I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but, this is a guy that has a future here. But, man, body-wise, what's the deal with him? Because it's 3 different incidents already this year with his body breaking down.
So, you raised a good point, right? As in he has a future here. I think that's more of a talking point now. I think before it was a 100% sure thing that, they'll bring him back. Now I think they need to think about it because clearly There were questions about him and injuries before he got to South Florida. That's one of the reasons why he, went from Europe to MLS. And we've seen in this year, body isn't holding up necessarily. So, when he's healthy and available, you saw the golazo he scored yesterday.
He's a productive Robbie Robinson. Because Robbie Robinson's always injured, but he does nothing anyway, so he's useless. But this kid actually can produce. But dude, you got to stay on the pitch, man.
Campana's much more talented than Robbie Robinson. But anyway, I get your point. Look, when he's healthy and available in MLS, he's shown he can make a difference. But that's the question that Inter Miami's going to have to figure out if they want to take that gamble. Do you gamble on a player that has, in a short career, has had a long list of injuries or had injury problems, and maybe warrants the label of injury prone at this point in his career? I mean, that's a question you have to analyze and assess and figure out and say, well, maybe, we obviously just see the injuries from the outside. They all have the science behind it. Maybe it was because of this, bad luck, whatever. But if it's the case of his body just breaking down and this and that, then, maybe the unpopular decision of not bringing him back is the smart one. Maybe, publicly that would be what, especially after you're going to lose Gonzalo Higuain, but maybe that's the smart play in the long haul. We'll see.
The only plus I could see for them is because of the injury, he and his agent are going to have to understand we can't give you a long-term deal, and we kind of got to have to give you maybe an incentive-laden type of deal. Do they do those kind of things? Because he can't really demand a lot because he's not reliable. And that's the only – he might be reliable when he's on the pitch, but you don't know when he's going to be on the pitch. And that's right. How many games could he have played that he missed this year?
Yeah, he missed a season. Yeah, he's missed a good portion, probably around a third of the season at least. And he's going to miss this weekend from what I'm hearing. Possible he comes back in time for the playoffs. There's optimism about that, but no official word just yet. I mean,
he doesn't look like he hasn't been a quick healer either, by the way.
You can see he was upset because he knows that any prolonged injury will rule him out of the World Cup contention with Ecuador. So there you go.
Yeah, no, you could tell he was pissed. You could tell he knows his body, that whatever he pulled, he knew that, oh, crap, I'm out for a while now. It's one of those deals. All right, so now let's get into the good news. I mean, brother, the play of this team and everything, we were wondering about Neville. I don't think you can wonder about Neville anymore. I think he's done a really good job. I think you got to bring him back. I think Chris Henderson has done an outstanding job of turning this mess around with some limitations that he has. And he has one more year of limitations, right, with salaries, and then he's freed up. So I think he's done overall. Let's start at the top. Your assessment of Neville and Henderson.
Yeah, look, Henderson has done a remarkable job of turning the roster around. There was an overhaul past offseason, and that led to, obviously, with the sanctions, not a whole lot of, on paper, a lot of talent. There were pieces and role players, but not a whole lot of top-tier talent. Inter Miami had one DP at the start of the year, Gonzalo Higuain, who had questions himself about, his level of play and everything. And Henderson pieced together a roster that was competitive. And then Phil Neville took that roster and buy in. And it wasn't pretty at the beginning. He did say, and the players did stress in preseason, that there was going to be a need for patience, and they stressed patience. Us South Floridians, media, fans, just in general, I don't know if we're all that patient when it comes to sports teams and results. So, the criticism came in hard early. Inter Miami was not that great during the first half of the season. They picked things up once Pozuelo came into the fold, which was a great acquisition from Chris Henderson. That helped, although it wasn't the only reason that Gonzalo Higuain's form rose and why he's playing at the level he's playing. But Phil Neville, and I've been very critical of him, probably the most critical or one of the most critical people here in the local media about Phil Neville during his 2 seasons here, but you have to give credit when credit's due. And look, he got, not only did Higuain raise his form and Pozuelo's impact make a difference, so did Phil Neville's change in approach. Because once Pozuelo came in, Phil Neville, and he said this in a press conference shortly after that, when you saw a different type of style of play, he said, I took the shackles off. And he advanced Inter Miami's lines. They started playing much more aggressively, much more attack-minded, trying to impose themselves on their opponents, trying to suffocate them in their own half. Whereas before, it was a lot more defensive minded, sitting deep, looking to counterattack, and that clearly wasn't working. That and there's coaches that would still stick with that. They would believe in their formulas being the way. Sometimes it works.
I think Franco. I think he was also in the process of figuring out who he could trust. So before I let you go run free, I need to be able to trust you that you're also going to do the defensive side of the ball too, and you're not just going to be playing on one half of the field. And I think that's probably why he started the way he did, to kind of build the foundation up of being more defensive early on, and then easing up the strings and opening things up. And once you got Pozuelo, it kind of changed things also on the offense. It really changed things up, overall. So
overall for the team, I just saw a better team once it became attacked by. I saw a team that could score goals and that believed in itself a bit more, and that didn't look so hesitant and unsure of itself with and without the ball. I think that did wonders for the team, and obviously we've seen the fruits of that labor, because now they're a playoff bound.
And I thought Neville also, to bench Higuain and go through all that mess. I think that's what a good coach does. Sometimes you have to do some of the really tough decisions. But at the same time, it was a tough decision that was best for everybody, because in the end, the team ended up better. Higuain ended up better. And look at the results now, man. I mean, Higuain was a disaster of a signing for 2 years. This is the 1 year where it's actually turned out to be, this is what we wanted from the guy all the way through. And so I got to give Neville credit for ruffling those kind of, big-time feathers. You know what I'm saying? It's different to go rip into Robbie Robinson or Campana or any of these young cats, but an Higuain, that's a whole different ballgame too.
Yeah, and I asked Phil about that after last Friday's win against Toronto FC. I asked him about the relationship with Higuain, because obviously managing personalities is a big part of the challenge for a coach that has very big star players on their team, the players that have played at high levels that have big egos. And he went into a very long-winded answer about their relationship. He said it's always been positive, even though they've had moments where they've both told each other things that haven't been the nicest, or it's like. But the way he's managed Higuain overall has been a positive, and you can see it now for how Higuain's finishing his career, and that's a testament not only to Higuain but also Phil Neville. So yes, Phil Neville deserves credit. Last year I was very critical of him, and where I thought his shortcomings were. This year he deserves the praise that he's getting, because he's done a tremendous job with a team that not many on the outside thought would be able to make it this far. I didn't. I surely did not think at preseason they would get this far. I didn't think at midseason they'd get this far. I didn't even think a week ago they would get to the playoffs. I still thought that they were not.
That's not a fair statement for you either, or anyone else, because the team that's now is not the team that started at the beginning of the season. They added.
That's the thing about MLS. MLS preseason predictions are hard to do, but you got to do it. You got to do it. If you're in media, you got to do it.
Yeah, but you didn't have any Pozuelo. You didn't have.
I do note that caveat when I do preseason predictions at MLS. I'm like, listen, you can see one team in the first half of the season, they make one signing, one DP from abroad or wherever, and that completely changes the team. They go on a run, they make the playoffs, they can even win MLS Cup.
Preseason, we're looking at Marsman, not calendar. Okay, so while we think Marsman was all right, calendar was freaking awesome this year. He did a great job for a young cat. And so these are little things that happen throughout that we didn't know what was going to happen in the preseason. And then all of a sudden, you start, what's the Coco guy, right? Didn't they acquire him during the season?
Yeah,
also?
but he's barely played. So.
He's barely played. Yeah. What happened to him, by the way?
He's just been injured.
Yeah.
Hasn't. I'm not surprised. He's coming from Europe. He's coming from, an off season, and then to try to find his footing in MLS right away. It's a challenge in and of itself, because of the travel and the different climates and all this. And then on top of that, he's coming from a break, and he's training in South Florida, which is probably hotter than most places he's played in his career. So I'm not surprised that he's going through some injury issues. Next year will be the year where we can get a real idea of him, I imagine.
Right. They added a couple guys, so that's why, the whole preseason thing is a joke in a way, because it's just not a good assessment of what the team really is, at this point. All right, so now you look at this team going. They got Montreal left, right, on Sunday, right? That's what's left. And then after that, what do you like them in the playoffs? Do you like them to make a little noise?
I was asked this question earlier today. Look, I wouldn't consider them a favorite, but I don't think they'll be an easy out for anybody. I don't think anyone will look forward to playing Inter Miami at this point. Like, this is a team that has good pieces across the field and that has difference makers in Higuain, Campana if he returns and is healthy, Pozuelo. Look, the team that just won yesterday against Orlando City, its rival, was a team that didn't have Gregory, its captain, didn't have Pozuelo, its top playmaker. It lost Campana to an injury, and they still were the dominant team. It was still was only one team on that field yesterday. Yeah, Orlando scored a late goal late on. They made it 4-1, but Inter Miami dominated that game. It was a one-sided game. There was only one team on the field, and I'd be the first one to tell you if that was not the case and they won and the scoreline was flattering. But yesterday's scoreline was as indicative, if not even maybe a little less than what we saw on the Inter Miami was that.
Oh, it was an ass kicking. It was great. It's one of those that when you're on the other side of it, it's really boring to watch the rest of the game because they're kicking your ass. But when you're kicking their ass, boy, it's fun to just watch them just completely dominate. By the way, Lassiter.
It's playing well.
What a pass to Higuain, and then the goal score after that later on. I thought that was really, really – and Higuain was expecting another pass, and Lassiter said, no, I'm firing that one, baby. And he got, that's fantastic to watch that kid play. And let me tell you, Bryce Dukes, he's like a little pit bull, bro. He is just a tough little dude. But yesterday, that was fun watching Lassiter do his thing. That was good.
Yeah, he's definitely been the most productive winger this season, and his numbers aren't great, so that says something about the production Inter Miami's wingers have had this year. Definitely think that's a position where they'll look to improve this offseason. But Lassiter has definitely been the most productive and the most lethal for sure.
Are you any of that Messi crap you believe in, or what? Or is it going to happen? Because somebody tells me they think in the middle of the summer next year is when it's going to happen.
So I would say that I think Inter Miami, I've said this for at least a year now, I think Inter Miami and MLS make a very serious push to try to bring him here. Whether that's enough to make him accept or not, or have him accept, I couldn't tell you. But I think that they'll make a very serious push to try to make it happen. I mean, it would be tremendous for.
And you also think in the middle of the summer, right after the season is over?
Yeah, after the European season ends, probably goes on a little bit of a break, and then comes in July. That standard mid-season European signing from Europe. That's if he signs. But I do think that they'll make a very good attempt. Don't forget, Messi is an Adidas guy. MLS is sponsored by Adidas. There's definitely ways that MLS can work around the salary cap and whatever they need to do to try to entice Messi. Because bringing Messi would be like, when Beckham arrived and that type of impact.
No, better.
Exactly.
Better because Beckham's not on the pitch. This guy will be on the pitch.
No, but when Beckham was signed, I mean back to the Galaxy, like that type.
Exactly.
Worldwide recognition, like let's go watch these games either on TV, whether we're in Israel or South Africa or Argentina, wherever So
they're going to be able to charge double for the ticket, and there won't be a seat available. Okay.
If they sign him, yeah.
If they sign him. What's normal ticket, like $18, $20, $25?
Sure.
Easily $40. Yes, easily, and the place will be packed every single game. There will not be a seat whatsoever if you bring that guy here. There's no doubt in my mind because everybody wants to go see a legend at least one time.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it'll be fun. All right, so you're expecting them to win the MLS Cup is what you said. Okay, I like it.
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't say that? Oh, okay. All right. So what's going on in Miami Total Football so they can check you out?
Yeah, I mean, just still covering the team on a daily, weekly basis, doing the pod, after every game. So we'll have another one hopefully before Sunday's match, trying to figure out the timing. But, just the usual, analyzing the games, bringing you all the latest news updates, opinions, general punditry, and inside information that you can't get most other places or probably almost anywhere because I think we're as plugged in as anyone that covers the team. I've already looked into the Campana thing, and I said since the beginning of the year I thought Higuain was retiring, and then throughout murmurs throughout the year, it's more obvious. So just tune into Miami Total Football Radio if you're an Inter Miami fan. If you haven't given us a listen yet, provide you as much things to chew on and dissect as as any radio talk show. Obviously, we just focus on Inter Miami, so it's only like once or twice a week. But yeah, we try to do as comprehensive and thorough a job as possible. We give just things to talk about. We raise questions like you mentioned Higuain's first 2 years, and now this season I raised the question on the pod earlier this week. Yes, okay, he's retiring, and yes, he's finishing on a great note. But can you consider his overall tenure with Inter Miami a success?
Well, you know what? I would call it a success.
They had to make the playoffs. I said they had to make the playoffs this year.
That's it.
Success, and they did it. So you can now look at Higuain's tenure and say it was a success here. Not a wild, great success, but it was a positive.
Well, let's be honest now. The teams from the prior 2 years weren't very good. There wasn't really any chemistry on the pitch at all. This is the first time that we have watched long-term chemistry. I'm not talking about a game or two or a half or whatever. That happens to any football team any year, that you'll have a lucky week or two that things go your way. We have seen more chemistry on this team this year than we had ever seen. Higuain never fit in with the guys. And now you brought in Pozuelo. And I got to tell you, Michelle and I were talking about this the other day. That little Argentine clique that they had, that was a cancer for this team. Let me tell you, okay? That was a freaking cancer for this team, that little clique that they had. It was too much, and it was almost like they were playing a club. I'm talking about club like in college, and playing club, soccer and having fun and having drinks and let's go to the sorority and have fun. That's what it kind of reminded me of. And I think Neville's kind of made it back to get it to business, and Chris Henderson's kind of leveled it off. So I don't necessarily blame Higuain for everything the first 2 years. Yeah, it's his fault he didn't come into shape. Yeah, it's his fault that he thought he could smoke cigarettes and drink beer and score goals here. I get all of that. But everything around him was dysfunctional, which allowed him to be dysfunctional. I think these guys have kind of straightened it out now. And now look at him with Pozuelo and everything else has made his game better. So I can't lay it all on him. I got to say he did his part and the team did their part so they can be successful this year. So I would call it a success because, dude, at one point or another, you got to start proving that as an owner, for Moss, he's got to start proving that he can get this thing done. So this is also very important for Chris Henderson and for Moss to make it to the playoffs this year. You got it?
Absolutely. And you saw Moss celebrating with the team and the front of the meal. See how much it means to them. Again, that's the Moss brothers. We got to respect David Beckham, the organization, players, everybody involved, because not many people had him getting this far. They've done what ultimate. So much deserved recognition. A lot of work done. It's not over yet. They've got still plenty of stuff to look, but a job well done so far.
All right, Franco Panizo, follow him on Twitter at Franco Panizo, and make sure you sign up to Miami Total Football. Subscribe to that on all platforms. Franco, as always, thank you, my brother. Enjoy the football on Sunday.
We'll talk soon during the class.
We will. There you go, Franco Panizo. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. And looking forward to a little football. Yes, sir. I like it. We are out here at Hialeah Park. And by the way, Edge Energy Drink, proud sponsor of our program, myedgedrink.com. Delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste. And when I tell you zero aftertaste, I mean it. Okay? Come on out on when we go for our broadcast for our Hurricanes games. We're going to have some Edge for you. Not this game, next week. We're going to have Edge out there to serve. We're going to give you some what's it called? Some taste testing for Edge Energy Drink. We're going to have all of that for you on our Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes pre- and post-game show live from Walk-On's Sports Bistro in Kendall. So come on out there. We'll be out there on Saturday starting off at 2 o'clock. And Mike McCoy and myself, we'll get you ready for the Canes and UNC. We will have a UNC writer joining us in the pregame show. We're going to have Gabby Uriuta joining us also to talk a little bit about recruiting. Manny Navarro will join us in the postgame show, breaking down the game. We'll have Mario Cristobal's press conference. So we will have all the coverage for you starting off at 2 o'clock. And if you want to go to a great bar, I mean, an absolutely awesome bar, a ginormous bar, okay, because Walk-Ons in Kendall is a ginormous bar. The roof is like 30 foot tall. There are televisions everywhere, and the food is out of control, okay? Out of control. From their burgers to that, ruby red, something, that fish that I have that is just absolutely crazy. The gator bites are awesome. You got to try the mozzarella logs. They're not mozzarella sticks. They're mozzarella logs, okay? I'm telling you, when Chad goes there and he tries those logs, he's going to freak out. Anybody that goes and tries the mozzarella logs, you're going to go, these are the best mozzarella. You're going to call them sticks because that's what everybody calls them, but they call them mozzarella logs because they're about that thick. Okay, they're not the little skinny ones. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and that's the other thing. If you're by yourself, the mozzarella logs alone is a meal. You might as well just make it a meal because you're only going to eat it. I can only eat like 2. You know, when I order it, I have to make sure that I'm with a couple of other people because there's no way I can eat them all because then I won't eat my food. But they're so good. God, they are good. Those mozzarella logs are absolutely awesome. So come on out and join us on 162nd and Kendall Drive, and you're going to love it. Walk-Ons will be there for every Canes game throughout the season. So come on by and join us this Saturday starting off at 2 o'clock. What do we have here?
Just so you know, live update going into the 70th minute. Arsenal still up 2-0. And I forgot to mention the American Matt Turner is in the goalpost, and that's great for USA football, I believe. So
okay, I like it.
Just a quick update for you there.
So 2-0 still.
Yeah, 2-0 still.
2-0 still. Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. Sloman's Home Shield, baby. Make sure you call them if you want a free doorbell camera. And I love the folks at Sloman's. They've been a proud sponsor of our program here now in their second year. And we have lots of listeners all throughout the country that have called 1-800-ALARM-ME, and they've gotten their free doorbell camera that I've told them that you can call and get. And of course, when you get that, when you call them at 1-800-ALARM-ME, you will get the free doorbell camera. And when you use their professional installation and their low-cost central station monitoring, you're going to get an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 3-arm doors, and a backup battery. Listen, all you got to do is be one of the first 40 Big O listeners, and you will get a free doorbell camera. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. And there is nothing like being able to go to your phone and watch everything going on in your home. You can even put a camera inside. I have a camera inside my house, too, for my dogs. So I have cameras outside, I have a camera at the front door, and I have a camera inside. You know, it's just one of those things that we do nowadays to kind of keep up with everything going on. And you always want to know. And the sensors pick up everything that's approaching your home. So if somebody's delivering, and what I love also is that you can control everything with your phone. So if you know your hands are going to be full walking into the door, do you really want to open the key and then also hit the keypad and all that? Forget that, dude. You go to the phone and you turn it off as you're pulling into your house. So the alarm is off. So now you're walking in with your hands full. You don't have to worry about also turning off the alarm and it's sounding. And then you're like balancing stuff and dropping things. Forget that, man. Okay. Somebody's delivering food or a package. They come right up to the door. You know, maybe you're headed home and they're getting there a little before. You can tell them, hey, please leave it right there. I'll be there in a minute. Thank you. And you're already talking with the person. You're in control. It's a beautiful thing. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. All right, let's talk a little baseball because baseball has been very, very good to me. It's also been very good to Craig Mish. Not to the Marlins fans, but to Craig Mish for sure. Let's bring him aboard as Craig Mish is ready to talk a little baseball. Where are we at?
Time to step in the batter's box with one of the best insiders covering Major League Baseball and the Miami Marlins, Craig Mish. The Batter's Box is brought to you by Welton Rayom Attorneys at Law. personal injury, bankruptcy, or criminal defense. Call for a free consultation. 954-966-4646 or go online at WRFLAlaw.com. Here's Insider Craig Mish.
Yes. Mr. Mish, how are you doing, sir? You doing good?
Doing great. Good to see you, Big O. What's happening?
Great to see you. So if you caught 62, would you give it back?
No way. Come on. That's a stupid question. What kind of question is that?
How much you want for it?
I mean, it's not about that. It's life-changing money, regardless. If it's 500,000, $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million. I mean, I just never understood the fascination with people on a soapbox saying that if they caught it, they would give it back. You know, like go put yourself in that position and see it happen and see how, and just take the ball home for one night and see how your life changes that day. I mean, look, if you're a multimillionaire and you catch a ball that's worth $1 million, you certainly could consider giving it back.
I think this guy's got bucks, actually. The guy that caught it.
No, maybe. We really don't know. But in the end, it's, for me, you paid for a ticket. You caught a ball. It's your ball. Aaron Judge is owed nothing. The Yankees are owed nothing. There's a big difference, like catching. I mean, I guess you don't know because Mike Trout's home run, at first, nobody thought that would be anything, and that's probably worth $1 million or $2 million. But really, in the end, if it's a prospect ball that's not supposed to be, anything spectacular, fine. Like Julio Rodriguez hit his first home run in Miami, Orlando, earlier this year for Seattle, and some fan gave back the ball. Probably a bad decision, probably in the end, because if this kid becomes a star, that's going to be regrettable, and it's hard to know in the moment. But I've always been on the fans' side of this, where hey, your decision, fine, but for me, I've hustled way too long.
Right.
In business to pass up a lottery ticket. I just am not going to do that.
Yeah, me neither. I would never do that. Let me ask you, will that ball climb? Because in the eyes of many, he is the real home run king because of the shadow that looms over Bonds, Sosa, and McGuire, that we don't look at them as they did it the right way, that they cheated at that moment. And, we don't even know if Judge is clean or not either, but,
sure.
The perception is that he's clean. I mean, Judge is such a likable dude. It just seems like, damn, he carries himself so well, dude. He's and by the way, the coolest thing for the Yankees, the top 3 home run kings in the history of the American League are all 3 Yankees. That's pretty freaking cool, by the way.
Who am I missing? It's Ruth,
Maris, Ruth, and Maris is not Yankee. Did I
Maris, Ruth, and Judge. I gotcha.
Okay, yeah, okay,
I mean, look, I don't think. I mean, at this point, you just have to accept the records for what they are. Bonds is the home run king, But I would say, Orlando, that could the ball maintain its value? I think that's the question that you have to ask. And if he still is on the Yankees and he ends up in the Hall of Fame and he ends up hitting 500 or 600 home runs, and he has the home run record, I mean, I think it can maintain. But as far as going up or anything like that, nah, I don't think so. I think, I guess there was an offer of $2 million. That seemed really high for me. It seemed high personally. But no auction house can offer that unless they could sell it for 20% more. So it must be worth that.
Wow, that's what the auction house gets? An extra 20%? That's what they get? I didn't know that. I didn't know the number.
18, usually 17.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
good
it's a
for
lot.
them, dude.
Yeah.
Holy crap! All right, Ohtani. So he's in the ERA and batting title.
Yep. And he'll finish second in the MVP.
It's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
He is ridiculous.
He's the best player. He's the best, having the best seasons of all time in the history of baseball, back to back.
It's just, this is so free. And his ERA for the Angels is like the lowest ERA since Nolan Ryan in 1972. I mean, that
if Ohtani was on the Yankees and Judge was on the Angels, Ohtani would be the unanimous MVP.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's it.
Are you all right giving Judge the MVP?
There's no choice in the matter, but I would vote for Ohtani if I had a vote.
Okay, right, yeah, right, exactly. That because I would vote for Ohtani.
Are you kidding me?
To me, it's not even a close vote
I say
between.
the same thing on all the shows that I've been on and talk about this. And you grew up in the 80s like I did. Imagine in the 80s, Orlando, I'm like, all right, here's what's going to happen. 30 years from now, you and I are going to be doing a show. There's going to be a player. He's the best hitter in baseball and the best pitcher or close.
No shot. You're an
You'd be
idiot.
like, that guy is the
You're a
MVP
moron.
every year if he's playing.
Yes.
No,
and I'm calling you a moron 30 years ago.
Yeah, you're like, there's no chance.
Get out of here, bro. You're crazy.
No
I
chance.
just saw this stat. He faced more innings than any player in the history of the game because of the batting and the pitching. It's like 5,000 innings or something stupid. I mean, this is not human what he's doing, bro.
Judge has had a great year, but it's New York bias. That's all there is to it. Man. Judge was on Kansas City. You think he's the MVP?
No. It's New York. You're right. You're 1,000% right. It's all about the market. That takes it to another level. But Ohtani, for me, he is the most valuable player in the last 100 years.
No question.
Of baseball.
I've never seen
not
anything
just
like
this
it.
season. 100 years. Because I know in my 56 years, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen a player that can come close to this guy to be that good on both sides of the plate. That's just sick. All right, let's get to the depressing stuff
You want
now.
to do Marlins here or no?
Yeah, unfortunately. All right, so talk to me, my brother. Is this just like Groundhog Day? Is that what we're going through now? Another off season of new manager, sell me any kind of hope. What are we looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll make moves, but I don't think they'll be significant in nature. I think they're pretty bent about those signings that they had in the offseason with Soler and Garcia. And I don't know that they're going to go back out on the market and spend again. It would be great if they could somehow convince someone to take Garcia, and then I really do think they'd reinvest that $50 million. That would be fantastic. That would require them giving up a prospect just to take them off their hands. That's not something they really want to do. But if I was them, I would seriously explore that, and then they could go back on the market and get some viable players here. But beyond that, it's going to be trades. I think they're going to be trading for players. I think they're going to be trading for low, not high salary players. Maybe guys who have a high salary that are on the end of their contracts or something along those lines, and like 1 year deal. I don't see any long term deals.
Do you expect what kind of manager are they? Are they going to get just like a young guy that hasn't had an opportunity? Is that what we're expecting?
I think they're going to interview like 10 people, it sounds like, and all walks of life. Managers who have managed before, ones who haven't, ones who have been coaches. I did a column in the Herald and I listed 6 coaches. I probably would guess 5 of those get interviewed or 4 of those get interviewed, and then some others. I'm starting to hear some other names now, but no one's been interviewed yet, and so it's sort of a waste of time for me to like say, hey, I heard this, Orlando, and then the guy doesn't even get interviewed. But I assure you, every interview that happens that I know, I'll report.
Okay. Players, where do some of these players stand? Are there any issues behind the scenes? Are there any players that are not happy about
Every player is not happy.
Really?
Yeah, it was a miserable Clubhouse season. Absolutely miserable. It was probably one of I can't be 100% sure, but because the Marlins have been around since '93 and I wasn't in all the clubhouses, but in terms of clubhouse harmony, since 1993, at the very least in the bottom 5, and maybe number 1 overall. The players did not get along. There was a lot of discontent over the course of the season, and there are a lot of people who feel that contributed to some of this year. Now, did it contribute more than 5% or 10%? That's silly. I mean, this is just guys not getting along. You're not going to say that that's going to, contribute to more than 4 or 5 wins and losses. That's not possible. But
especially in a very individual sport too.
There was no harmony this year. It was a very difficult year, and I reported that earlier in the year. They had a clubhouse meeting. Some guys that I talked about didn't like that I reported that. It's just the nature of the game, and we'll see. We'll see what happens in the offseason. They absolutely have to clean that up. They have to find a manager that can connect everyone. And Donnie, I think, did his best, but I don't think there was anything he could do.
So what needs to be cleaned out, because I don't think you just create harmony by keeping everybody together. Something must have been an issue.
Well, I mean, there was a meeting earlier in the year where they, sort of were like a couple of veterans were going in on Jazz for different things, and some of the younger players, and then other players came in the defense of Jazz. Listen, some people felt the meeting was warranted. Other people feel that it didn't. But at that point, the clubhouse was like divided from that point forward, for the rest of the season. So, I mean, it's not a matter of that. I just think it's a matter of at this point, they're going to have to figure out what works and what doesn't work for them in terms of leadership in that clubhouse. I don't know the answer to that, but the new manager will figure that out. Kim Ng was there. Kim Ng was in that meeting, that clubhouse meeting that they had. That was, all that controversy. I saw her walk out of that meeting. I was right there. So she knows. She'll make the decision on whether this is right or not. I wasn't there, but I can only tell you the thoughts of a lot of people during the season, and it caused a lot of discontent for me over the course of the year because I caught a lot of heat from it. But it's part of the game. It's part of reporting, and I did what I had to do.
The Welton Realm Batters Box with Craig Mish. We do it every week here on the program. Don't forget, you can call if you're looking for a law office to protect your rights. 954-966-4646. Call Welt and Realm and tell them that Big O sent you. Promise you, they will take care of you. They took care of us. They brought the Progressive Insurance Company to its freaking knees. So I'm just telling you, we were able to rock the hell out of Progressive, thanks to them. So just in case, if you got these big ass insurance companies trying to bring you down, all the folks at Welton Realm, they're in Hollywood and they serve all in South Florida and in the Keys. By the way, they also have an office in the Keys. So if you're actually watching out there in the Keys, one more thing before I let you go.
Sure.
Bruce Sherman.
What about
where does he stand? What's the plan? But I mean, this is not a guy that can sit back and complain because he hasn't produced as an owner, but he's got to be also frustrated with the results. And I always hear from these owners that they're not happy with the results from the fans or the attendance and those kind of things. But in the end, if you don't do your part in this town, you're not ever gonna get support. And so, what is the plan for Bruce Sherman? Are you just gonna waddle around and be a low payroll team and collect taxes? Is that the plan, that you're still making a little bit of money and that's about it?
No, I think he wants to win. I think he very much wants to win. I mean, we can debate the finances of Major League Baseball teams. The Marlins still have an unresolved attendance issue. They don't, no one goes to the games. And
you don't win. You don't win. Nobody's goes.
I mean, but again, if I guaranteed you they'd sign Xander Bogaerts, would you guarantee me their attendance would rise by 30%?
I'm not going to guarantee you anything until they win, Mitch.
Right.
You got to win. It doesn't matter if it's you playing.
Listen, he could sign everybody and nobody could come. It's the same thing that's been going on for since 03.
But watch the Panthers. They're building it up. And look, now Inter has now getting into the playoffs. You're going to now, if you're going to start becoming a playoff team, you're going to start seeing that stadium get full. You know what I mean?
Right. But at what cost, I guess, is the question. Look, I don't.
You got to make an investment, doggy.
I mean, he invested 55 in Avisail Garcia, invested 36 in Jorge Soler, bro, and they both were not that great. And Sandy Alcantara got a $50 million extension. So you're telling me he said, here's $140 million this offseason, and we're going to win 2 more games the next year. What would you do in his spot? I'm not making an excuse for him. But
I would fire the baseball people.
Well,
obviously.
Here we are. Well, Derek Jeter's gone.
You know what I'm saying?
Derek Jeter's gone, and so is Gary Denbo, right? So that's the deal. So what I would say about Bruce Sherman, not a lot of people ask about him. I don't know why, but what I would say about Bruce Sherman is the last 5 years, prior to this season, there's no passes for 2022, but prior to this season, Bruce Sherman wrote the checks and did not do anything else, bro. Nothing else. This was Derek Jeter's show. We want to do this. I want to do this. This is who I like. This is what I want to do. And he had complete autonomy to do that. It was in his contract to make every decision.
Sure.
And then every decision would be brought to the ownership, and they basically would sign off on it because this was Derek Jeter. This was his decision. And they just had enough. and they had enough. It was like, hey, wait a second here. Like, what are we doing? Like, no one's making any money here. We were not winning any games.
Right.
We're not in any better financial position than what we were. And now Derek's gone. So what I would say is, in terms of accountability, yes, Bruce Sherman has to be accountable for all 5 years here, no question. But in terms of the way that I view it now, because now the decisions are his. There's no one else in the organization that's saying, hey, we have to do this. He has to be the one, inevitably, to make all the decisions. So, for an example, I can't speak to everything, but I know I am pretty sure that the manager of the Miami Marlins will be the decision will be made by Kim Eng in terms of who they want to hire, but Bruce Sherman in this case is really going to hire the manager. Right. Where previously this would have been Derek Jeter. Like it's his decision. He's involved in it. So now is really the time I think to start judging that. But the problem is, Orlando, nobody wants to hear that. And I don't blame you if you don't want to hear it either. Oh, what are you kidding me?
No, but I trust you when you tell me this. I trust you. But the only thing I would say to Bruce, who, by the way, doesn't look like he's a jerk. He actually looks like he's a decent dude. I'd like to sit down and talk with him one day. But overall, I just think in this town, Craig, you know how it is, dude. You got to win. You got to entertain. That's how you're going to get support here. And until you become that team, and that's his job, and he's got to find the right baseball people. But he's got to become a team that is entertaining to watch night in and night out. And then I think you'll start to draw a crowd. Are you going to get 30,000 every night? We're not that kind of place.
No, I can't project what the future is going to hold. Could next season look very much like this one? It is possible. I don't know the answer to that. But what I would say is it is going to be Bruce Sherman's team. This I know. And the other thing that I hear, and it just doesn't stop, like it literally doesn't stop. And I can never be certain of anything because I can be fooled into things, certainly be told things that are not true. But for those people who think that any decision that's being made or has been made is in order for him to sell the team, that is not happening. So okay. Like when you hear that, Orlando, and someone writes about that they're having money problems or whatever, none of that is true. This guy is going to be the owner of the team. I would, if I had to guess, he'll be the owner of the team a long time.
Okay.
But I can't guarantee they're going to win anything. Like that I can't do. But we got to cut the nonsense of, oh, they're firing people, or they let last week they let go of their director of player development. I don't know.
Right.
And then they also got rid of the two guys, Jeff DeGroot and Hadi Rod, were both let go. They both had contracts through next year. They're gone. And 5 scouts, they're gone too. So
by the way, that was all Jeter. Before he left, he gave everybody new contracts.
He gave everybody new contracts through 2023. Correct. He gave everybody new contracts without except for Mike Hill, who won in 2020. So go figure that one. But
right.
But anyway, so so that happens. Then what text do I get? Oh, Bruce Sherman selling the team. Here we go, firing these guys, cutting the salary, trying to make it as little as possible. So, it's just not true. It's just
no. I put one and one together because when you were saying that Derek Jeter's made all those decisions, I know that somebody else told me that behind the scenes that Derek took care of all his people before he left. He signed them all to contracts and then walked out the door.
All of them.
And so even vendors, everything. He took care of everybody before he left out of there.
Is it any different than what Jeffrey Loria did right before he left? No, same exact thing.
Well, no. Difference is Jeffrey Loria stole the $1 billion when he left. So that's all
right. But he also extended all of his people too.
No, you're right. He did.
Right before he left. I'm not asking anybody to give anybody a chance. Or everyone has to make their own decisions with this. This year was horrendous. Sure. And I can't sit here and say buy tickets or even defend anything by you saying, oh, they got to spend, they got to win. All these things are all true, but in the end, if you ask me my belief, I believe this guy does want to win. I genuinely do believe that. And the guy committed 55 to one guy, 36 to another, and an extension for $50 million. Cleveland did 0, Pittsburgh did 0, Cincinnati tore it down, Oakland traded everybody. The Marlins built up. They didn't build up as much as you would want or someone else, fair, but they did do something, and it was a complete disaster. So now it's like, okay, we hit this huge disaster. Let's do it again. And now you're that guy going, I don't know. Should we do it again? Like, that's what's going on right now, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Since you are all knowing, who comes out of the wild card round? Rays or Guardians?
Rays.
Phillies or Cardinals?
Oh, this is tough. This is a tough one. Oh boy.
Come on, you got a lot of insight on the Cardinals.
I took the Phillies on my earlier show. I hate to go against the Cardinals, but I'll take the Phillies here. I'm partial to JT Realmuto.
And you break all these Cardinal stories, and you have a lot of insight in that damn locker.
I really do, but I think Realmuto. It's hard to go against JT.
All right, Mariners and Blue Jays.
Mariners easy.
Okay, Padres and Mets.
Mets easy.
There you go. Now you know, folks. You got it all there.
What about the other the answers. Oh, we did them all? That was it?
Yeah, we did them all. Well, that was all the Friday ones.
I think that you'll probably have a couple of 3-game series, but I think Major League Baseball is going to have to adjust this because there's a huge advantage, Orlando, to playing 3 games at home, man. Like you win the first one, you lose the second. Remember that feeling where you had to go travel for game 3? Now you're like back at home. Oh, okay, fine. You know, like I don't know. That's the only thing that I think they need to tweak, either a 1-1-1. But that's a lot of travel. I don't know. They have to figure that out.
Hey, why don't we have them in like in places that are neutral? Bring it to Miami.
But that wouldn't be fair to the Mets. Like a team like that, they win 100 games and they don't even get home field. They gotta have.
Well, actually, it would be fair to the Mets because we have a ton of Mets fans here in South Florida.
We invite them to come to the games.
That's right, exactly.
We invite them to buy tickets to the games. We root for them. Go Mets.
It's a beautiful thing.
Can you imagine the Red Sox and helping out?
Oh no, no.
Imagine the Dolphins putting out something and say, "Hey, we're 2-15. Come root for the Dolphins against the Jets so they don't win the division against New England." I mean, you'd be out of your mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, that would be absolutely insane. All right, tell them about the Sports Grid.
All right, Sports Grid every day, 11 a.m. Eastern, Fantasy Sports Today, 2 p.m. Eastern on Newswire, talking sports betting every day from 2 to 3, and fantasy sports from 11 to 12. New podcast tomorrow, Swings and Mishes, maybe the last one for a long time. Who even knows at this point? I've been grinding this for years. And who knows? But anyway, tomorrow we'll have a wrap-up podcast. So that'll be on Apple, on iTunes.
Mish is basically telling you there's not enough revenue to do it anymore. That's
Buddy, it really is not. Like I'm like, I mean, it really is not. Like, what would you do if you were me? Like,
I know you for 20 years. I know exactly what
would you do if you were me on this? Would you continue to do this podcast? I'm not making any money off this.
No, I know they're not helping you. I get it, bro.
I can't sell 95 losses every year. I can't do it. As good as I think I am, and the insight that I get.
No, you're excellent. You're excellent.
But again, I don't. No one wants to buy that.
I know.
I mean, I think that if I did the Savannah Bananas, I may be able to make some money. But
yeah, you probably would because at least it would be entertaining.
But
you could dress like a banana for the podcast.
Anything. I'll listen. You know me, like default. I'll go on the street in a chicken outfit. But I mean, and we're the hustlers of all time, you and me. But there's got to be some end game here.
Yes.
And when I started this podcast, I thought in 5 years we're going to be a playoff team, and here I am. I'm going to be the king of the world. I'm going to have the most insightful podcast on a Major League Baseball team that's going to be in the postseason. And I don't even know if I can say that. I got to do this all again next year too. I mean, man, I don't know.
You're profiting a hell of a lot more in the batter's box than you are on swings and missions.
I mean, respectfully, that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad.
I know.
Respectfully, that is kind of sad. I did make money the first 2 or 3 years, but I really hustled it. And then I kind of stopped hustling it, and no one's knocking my door down. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. That's tough, man.
But my other gigs, I'm doing fine. I'm not complaining.
Right. Exactly.
It's just that is now a labor of love completely.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully the Marlins, turn it around, man. It would be nice.
It would
be nice. All right, Mish Meister, have a great weekend. Enjoy the baseball, my friend. I appreciate you as always. We'll catch up next week.
Sounds good, man. Have a great week.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Craig Mish, baby. We now step out of the batter's box.
You've been listening to the Batter's Box with MLB and Marlins insider Craig Mish. The Batter's Box is brought to you by Welton Rayom Attorneys at Law. Personal injury, homeowners, or condo property damage, bankruptcy, or criminal defense. Call for a free consultation at 954-966-4646 or go online at WRFLA.com. Download any episode by subscribing to our podcast at Big O Radio Show on most platforms.
I see Tony Segala says, I totally tuned out with baseball this year. We only had a winning baseball team. And, I I'm sorry, Doug. I couldn't ask your question. I didn't see it, to be quite honest. I didn't look to the thing for the questions. It's a little different in this setup today because normally I have this right in front of me and I can see it when it pops up sometimes. But it's to my side now, so I apologize, Doug. But Tony, I don't blame you, dude. So many of my friends are not watching baseball at all. Most people have completely tuned out the Marlins because they're not trying to win. And if you're not trying, we're not going to try in this town. The misconception about South Florida sports fans, we are really good sports fans, okay? I don't care what anybody tells me. We're great sports fans, but we're not stupid sports fans, okay? Stupid is packing a park or an arena for a team that constantly loses. You know, like Cubs fans for many years, their Cubs would suck and they'd have the place loaded. Cubs fans are as dumb as they get. Okay? Because personally, I think it's the dumbest thing in the world for you to go back and go support a team that has no interest in winning or is so incompetent every single year. So South Florida fans, yeah, we'll support you, dude, but you want my money? Oh, then entertain me. Win. Get to the playoffs. I'm not asking you to – South Florida fans don't ask you to win the title every year. But they do want you to entertain or win. Because if not, I'll go to Las Olas, bro. I'll go to Worth Avenue and hang out. I'll go down to the Keys. I'll go to Coconut Grove. I'll go to South Beach. I'll go to Key Biscayne. I'll go to the Swamp. I'll go to 100 terrific restaurants in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. I'll go boating. There's a ton of things to do here. I'll go to a casino. Where am I? We're not going to just give you the money. That's the problem. And so I don't blame Tony or any of you that have given up on baseball because they're not telling you or giving you a reason to spend on baseball. You know, I was dying to go to some games myself over the last couple of years. Now we got rid of Loria, but I was hoping that we'd get an owner that was committed to actually trying to win. But if I'm watching Ozuna leave and Chris Yelich leave and Sandy, yeah, you signed him now, but in a couple of years, how long is he going to tolerate this? It just gets to a point where it's just insulting, put it that way. And that's where the Marlins are at. And that's why they don't deserve any kind of support. And I'm a strong believer of it. In today's world, discretionary income, it's not flowing as much for everybody like it used to. I don't believe that you should be loyal to your team and buy season tickets every year and all that if they're not trying. You know, those days that 20, 30, 50 years ago, people would stay loyal to their team and go every year and go every year. And no matter what, that's dumb. That's bad investments. Okay, you make an investment, you're going to get an entertaining return. It doesn't have to be a championship, but please entertain me. You know what I mean? Look, Inter Miami last night, at least they made the playoffs. You've been an entertaining team, especially in the second half. There you go. You did your job as an owner. You did your job as a coach and players. And fans, you should support them. They're trying to win. Hell, they've tried so much. They tried to have 5 DPs on that team. They were trying so hard to win. So you got to respect that. They're trying to win. That's the kind of stuff you support. Sherman is, unfortunately, that's not the kind of effort you support. Hour number 3 is next. We talk a little Miami Dolphins football. It's the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with the one and only Alan Poupart. That is next. Wait a minute. I guess we don't have I guess we don't have an open ready. So I'm going to have to do it myself, I guess, because it looks like somebody dropped off right now. Our producer dropped off. So I'm going to have to do it myself. And here we go.
Dolphins fans, time to get insight on your favorite team with your favorite reporter with an Expos hat. Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report, exclusively on a Big O radio show.
All right. We get technical difficulties. Let me take that out for you there, Alan. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. Now I'm in charge here of this technical stuff, and it's never good when I'm in charge of the technical stuff because somebody ends up dropping off. But we will get the Hialeah billboard off of your face there in just 1 second. There we go. There we go. How you doing, my friend? You doing all right?
Can't complain. Nobody would want to hear it anyway.
Yeah, although I got complaints, bro. What the hell happened with Byron Jones? I mean, you were telling me he's going to be ready. Oh, well, he needs a couple more weeks, and now he's not ready after 4. And I know they're never going to tell us, but I almost feel like he had some kind of a setback, man. Sucks.
Well, Mike McDaniel said specifically he did not have a setback. But then
he said he was going to be ready too.
No, well, he said he was confident he was going to be ready, and the whole thing. I mean, everything about the situation is mysterious. Starting with the fact that he waited until March to have the surgery.
Yeah.
So the whole thing's bad. And sorry, but this defense not nearly as good without Byron Jones.
No, of course not, man. And this week, hopefully X has been in practice, right?
No,
not at all. Not even limited.
Not only that. DNP yesterday and today, but now he's on the injury report with groins, plural.
Okay, so that's terrible. He's done.
Whereas last week it was groin, singular. So, yeah, I'd say I'd be fairly pessimistic about him playing.
Yeah, no, as I told somebody, don't worry about X until Thursday. And if he's not practicing today, then he's probably not going to play on Sunday. And so they'll have to blitz the hell out of him. Out of Zach is what I'm saying. They're probably going to do that. A lot of that to not leave their guys on an island very long. All right, so we get to the Tua questions now. Obviously, what do we know about the investigation? Finally, anything yet?
Nothing other than they were hoping to wrap it up by the end of this week. I think you and I both know that it's going to come out that nobody did anything wrong, but the concussion protocol probably needs to be beefed up a little bit. And anytime anybody shows any wobbliness, for lack of a better word, regardless of the cause, they're going to be out for this game. I don't think anybody should expect anything other than that.
Right, but let's fire a guy or a woman who just followed the protocols that you have placed or set in place, and then let's fire them because we got to feed the lynch mob a little bit. I just found that to be a little sad to fire the doctor when you saw Cameron Brake get knocked out and come right back this weekend. T. Higgins was playing in that same Thursday night game with 2 dings, not one, but 2. Going into that, nobody says anything. I don't know if you saw the Joe Burrow cut. Did you see the Joe Burrow cut talking about that? Did you see Alex Smith also talking? Here's my problem with all of this now. We're getting on this soapbox. You got this doctor saying, oh, Tua should retire, And I love all these people, and I've talked about this several times before you've been on this week. So are you telling the firemen not to run into a blazing building? No? You're telling the FP&O guy not to work on power lines? You're telling the race car driver not to go around in circles at 220 miles an hour? Are you going to stop giving a 20-year-old a gun and say, go fight for us and keep our country free? You're going to tell a miner not to go back down into the mine and breathe all that shit for 20 years where he probably will shorten his life? People do things every day. A cop walks out the door and his wife or husband has no idea if he or she is going to come back by the end of the day. And so I love these people, and they think that these guys really, by now, they all know the risk they're taking, bro. And they're fine with it. So it's just one of these things that the part that pisses me off is that we are now trying to control what people love to do. And guess what? People do dangerous things for a living. Are you going to tell the entire Wallenda family not to walk a tightrope?
Not to be flying Wallendas.
Yeah, not to be flying Wallendas. Be grounded Wallendas. And we are not the Wallendas. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I get it, man. It's a brutal game, but you're not playing it. So if Tua wants to play it or Joe Burrow or whatever, they know what they're getting into. So let's pump the brakes here on trying to fix the world when we've got hundreds of jobs that people are risking their lives every day, pretty much.
3 quick points, if I may. Number one, yeah, I completely agree with you. And by now, every football player understands the long-term risks of playing football with the head injuries. And like you said, they're well compensated for a reason. And if they want to assume the risk, that's on them. That's number one. Number two, about the people who call for players to like retire and all that. It's amazing that I never hear that about boxing, UFC, MMA, where the sole object of the sport is to knock the shit out of the other guy. So it makes zero sense. And then the final point I want to make, and this pertains to everybody like hitting me up on the social media today about like, well, what, like, and you brought it up too. What about T. Higgins and why is Tua being made such an example? Well, because it was it was in prime time and it was 4 days after he wobbled. So that's why the Tua situation, even though it may not be any more serious than what happened to T. Higgins or Joe Burrow.
Dude, it's Ray Rice all over again. It's just a different thing. But lots of men have hit women in football, but we never saw it. The day we saw it with Ray Rice, oh my God! And the video changes everything. You're 1,000% right.
Right. This is not a Tua issue. It's the fact it's a quarterback, number one, and it's in prime time. And 4 days after, there's video of him wobbling. So you
by the way, do we not? You and I remember, and plenty of Dolphin fans. Do we not remember Chris Chambers against the Denver Broncos?
Yes.
Okay.
Nasty hit over the middle.
It was the same. It was the same thing. He was concussed, and he was and if I remember correctly, there was like a hand that was like up in the air or something. Remember that?
No, I don't remember. I remember like the vicious.
Chad, do me a favor. Oh, Chad's not there now. But there's a video of it. I've got to find that video. But I remember that there was like he had something like it was his hand. That it was like the creepy thing of it all. Not only him lying there, but it was also the motion he was making or something with his hand, if I remember correctly. And the video evidence is what always, shakes us all, man. And that's why. And yeah, Tua is a lightning rod and all of that, but this is a problem that's all over the league. And all Tua did now, or that situation, was expose that your protocols really weren't that good in the first place.
And again, it was like a perfect storm of events that made it that brought all the attention on it.
Yeah. All right. What do you got to do this week if you're Mike McDaniel? The first test came when they were down by 21 against the Ravens. Here's the second test now. The first test, adversity, deficit, you come back on the road, amazing win. Now, adversity hits, you got your backup quarterback in there. This is where, if you're known as an offensive genius, the genius has to come out, doesn't it?
Well, I've seen genius the first 4 weeks of the regular
No, but I mean without the franchise guy. I'm talking about with the backup guy.
Here, this is where we're gonna disagree. Probably is I'm of the opinion that and I need to preface this by saying Tyreek Hill popped up on the injury report today with a quad. He was limited. Assuming he's at full, he's good to go, and he's Tyreek Hill, and you have Jalen Waddle on the other side. The concept of what McDaniel has been doing, and also remember you're going to have Bridgewater taking the full week of practice as a starter, as opposed to coming in not having taken the full reps. I don't see any significant drop off whatsoever with the offense. I think this is an offense that I think Bridgewater can absolutely operate. We saw a lot of good things in that second half under trying circumstances, and that late in the game. Clear communication Gesicki never turned around until the ball was past him. So I think they'll be fine offensively. Again, if Hill's quad does not become an issue, doesn't keep him from playing or playing at 100%. My big concern with that game is on the other side of the ball with all the injuries, because we mentioned X. You haven't mentioned Keon Crossan, who hasn't practiced.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
Didn't practice yesterday, didn't practice today.
And that's bad. Once you get to Thursday, I'm really concerned once you get to Thursday.
No, correct. So now we're down. Now we're down to Kader Kahu, Elijah Campbell, perhaps. Noah Benogany. Is he finally going to get playing time on defense?
Oh, he has to this week. He has to.
Choice. Eric Rowe moving over from safety. I mean, they're
yes.
numbers. So we talked about blitzing, and yeah, that's great. But they better get to Zach Wilson in a hurry, because otherwise, the Jets with Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, and Garrett Wilson can do some damage with that passing game.
Yeah. The only thing I disagree with you on, I get what you're saying about Teddy because he's a good game manager, but the deep ball game will not be the same with him and Tua. Completely different.
64-yard completion to Tyreek Hill last week.
That was like a pop-up ball that he threw. What I'm saying is the consistency. What I'm saying is the consistency that you saw with Tua deep, which, by the way, freaked everybody else out because nobody even thought he was going to throw that many deep balls. But he actually threw a bunch of deep balls. You will not see that with Teddy. You might see one like he threw up for grabs, and that was a great play by Tyreek. But the deep shots that you saw with Tua on a consistent basis, that will not be with Teddy. That's just my guess. That's just me. I think there's going to be a lot of short passing here. A lot of even the backs are going to get some stuff out in the flats. I think he's going to try to get quick strikes to these guys and get them out there trying to make some plays in open space. I don't think you're going to get a lot on the second half of the defense. That's what I think.
If it's there, I think Teddy's perfectly capable of getting it out there. I don't have that much of a concern, to be very honest with you, with the offense.
All right. When we look at the running game, that would be beautiful for it to work this week. I mean, Alan, there aren't a lot of big injuries on the offensive line. You got some injuries everywhere else. This is kind of a time where you'd like for the Hogs to kind of do their job up front.
Well, Armstead's still not practicing. I mean, he's playing.
No, but he's playing.
Here's the thing. I have a very, 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 and I understand the running game statistically is very, very poor. I have a very hard time getting worked up over it when the Dolphins are 10th in the NFL in total offense and top 3.
I get it.
Passing. So to me, it's more like, okay, if you have a 3rd and 1, get the 3rd and 1. But if they're rushing for 60 yards a game and they're passing for 300, I'm okay with it. I mean,
you know what is happening, right? What's happening? The happening is the disconnect that you and I have. You're not as concerned with Teddy. I'm a little bit more concerned with Teddy. So I think Teddy needs the running game more than Tua would even need it, because I also think Teddy will not be able to hit the deep shots that Tua has been hitting on a consistent basis. So that's why I talk about it, and that's why you're not as worried about it, because overall it's a very productive offense. So it's not like it's a bad offense. It's a good offense even without the running game. Although I will say this, Alan, maybe you might agree or disagree with me. It looks like they're starting to pop more and more runs. So not a consistent running game, but it seems like every game they're starting to pop more and more runs. So it looks like they're kind of figuring it out a little bit,
I agree. And absolutely. I tweeted that during the game on Thursday night. I was loving the way Mostert was running. I mean, he looks like he was skating through holes over there. I mean, it was the first time all season where I noticed a big difference between the two backs. I always thought like him and Chase Edmonds were kind of like 1A, 1B. That night, to me, Raheem Mostert looked clearly better than anything we had seen from either of those two up to that point. And it makes me very confident and very hopeful that it could pop at some point, and then he could be in for a good game.
I don't think the Jets are a very good team overall, but what is the biggest concern you have that the Jets could give the Dolphins problems on Sunday?
No, it's like I mentioned. I think the Jets offense worries me. They've had injury issues at tackle, but Dwayne Brown is practicing this week. There's a possibility he might play, which allows them to move Vera Tucker back to guard after he played left tackle against Pittsburgh on Sunday. The interior of their offensive line is good. I think Zach Wilson's got a fabulous arm. He's inconsistent with his passing, but that wide receiver trio is worrisome to me. And again, it's not like the Dolphins have been great in pass defense to begin with.
Yeah, no, even X hasn't been great.
No, correct. So that concerns me with them. And I don't. They haven't been good. You look at their games. I mean, they have 2 comeback wins and then 2 games where they kind of were manhandled. I happen to think the Jets are massively on the upswing, and I said even before the season started that team was going to be a problem this year, as opposed to how the Dolphins manhandled them the last several years. And if we look at last year, Dolphins beat them by 7 both times, and the Jets are significantly better in my book because they just keep adding young talent. I mean, they had 3 first-round picks this year, and they keep hitting on those guys. Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, and Sauce Gardner. On top of that, their second-round pick, Breece Hall, looks like a keeper at running back. And you add that to the young talent they had. Won't be very long, I think, before that team's a problem. And I don't think it's going to be an easy game on Sunday for sure.
Are you a Zach Wilson believer, by the way?
Too early to tell. He's got a lot to work with. I mean, I love his arm. He's got a really.
Yeah, he's definitely got athleticism and an arm. I just haven't seen a quarterback yet. That's my only thing with him.
Well, the only thing is he gets loose with his decisions every once in a while. So, yeah, there's definitely something there, and it would not surprise me. I'm still on the fence with him, but I think there's something there. It wouldn't surprise me if he became really good.
Do you agree with me that Tom Garfinkel should hire a group of MILFs to act like the replacement cheerleaders on the sidelines to kind of keep Zach a little busy? Is that a good idea?
Anything to help, right?
Okay, I'm just saying. I mean, the kid has certain interests.
Yes, he does.
And so I figured we, help him out. And you never know. I mean, it's and you got to admit that the replacement cheerleaders are probably the greatest cheerleaders of all time, right? I mean, those are the best cheers ever, right? Are there any better cheers than ever?
Haven't noticed. Sorry.
You never saw the movie The Replacements?
I haven't. I know. You know what? Never did.
You have never seen Shane Falco do his thing.
I have never seen The Replacements.
Oh my God. He's
You're ashamed of me, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Sorry.
Gene Hackman.
Oh, I know. I'm aware of the movie.
Keanu Reeves. Are you
aware of the movie? That's one. That might be the only football movie I haven't seen. I've seen.
Oh, dude, you have to. You should watch it tonight, bro. You should just chill out and have a fun ass 90 minutes of laughing and having a great time, dude. And then when you see the cheerleaders, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Because they're funny.
But I'll make it a point to watch it.
The cheerleaders are funny. Yeah, man. And the Australian kicker. I mean, that guy alone makes the movie. You got to see The Replacements, dude.
Okay, we'll do.
It's a must. All right, so what do you got going on alldolphins.com since you've disappointed us by not seeing The Replacements?
I already got 4 things on the site today, and I forgot what they are because there's I did
4? Only 4?
No, I'll get 83 more for tag. I got a quote of 87. Got something on Skylar Thompson. I had the injury report with Tyreek popping up on there. We're going to do something on completely. I don't know if you caught wind of the John Embry media session today, the tight ends coach, where he was talking about.
Oh no, I have not. What did he say?
Oh my Lord, they were talking about playing time, how it's split up, and basically his whole point was we want to be a run first team, and Durham Smythe's a blocker, and Mike isn't, so that's why. And I couldn't help but think, yeah, well, that's great, but why in the triple hell did you franchise tag the guy for $10.9 million? 10.9 million. You're just discovering now that this notion.
Well, they wanted to try it. They wanted to try the experiment. And I've said this from the get-go. You hang on to him because maybe you might trade him by the deadline that somebody needs a tight end. And maybe you get a higher pick in that trade than you would in the compensatory side of it. So
I agree.
That's the only reason.
I agree with you that I cannot help but think that that's why they hung on to him, is they figured somebody would come calling with a good offer at some point. That obviously hasn't happened yet, and it's possible it might not happen. It doesn't help. Dude's got 10 targets in 4 games.
No, I know.
I mean, pretty expensive for a guy who's basically doing little.
Yeah, but they had tons of cap space, and they're just maybe hoping to get some draft. And they had, two owners that already took a first and a third from them, so maybe they got to find a way to get it back.
Yeah.
So maybe Gesicki might be a way of getting it back. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL and catch all of his work there at Sports Illustrated, alldolphins.com. And bombard his ass with replacement videos and all kinds of stuff on social media. Show this man why he should watch the replacements at Poupart NFL. All right? Alan, we love you, brother. We'll see you later.
Have a good weekend.
You got it. There you go, baby. Alan Poupart getting it done for us. As always. Love it, man. Love it. How has he not watched the replacements? I think that's illegal, right? You can't like football and not watch the replacements. It's impossible.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Report with Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart. For additions, home remodeling, and custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is your custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
There you go. We thank Alan as always. Appreciate him big time. Thank you all, as always, for keeping it locked here on the program. We're at Hialeah Park. Looking forward to it. Cutter's Edge, by the way, proud sponsors of our program. Make sure you go to cuttersedgepro.com if you are looking for your right landscaping solution to straighten out your backyard, your front yard. It's all there for you, baby. cuttersedgepro.com. So we thank them. Let's see. What else do we have here? Inter Miami defeating Orlando City, like we told you, 4-1. It's a beautiful thing. We got the Colts and the Broncos tonight. How about that? I haven't given you a lockdown segment in a while here. It's been a couple of days that I haven't had a pick. I think it is time to make a selection and get into a little lockdown.
Time to lock is down. The Lockdown is brought to you by ALennyLocksmith.com. Services in South Florida from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, ALennyLocksmith.com locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Here's the Big O to tell you what needs to be locked down.
Let's tell you what needs to be locked down. And today, we got a game. Yep, we got a little Thursday night action. We got the Colts and the Broncos. And I got to tell you, in this game, let me give you the line right now. It is the Broncos favored by 3.5. The over and under is 42. Colts are plus 145, and the Broncos are minus 170. Now, when we look at this, the problem is Jonathan Taylor is not going to play today. Now, a lot of you are saying, well, Jonathan Taylor hasn't been much this year. And it's true. He hasn't had a great year. Matt Ryan has not been the answer at quarterback. I think Frank Reich is a hell of a coach. I really do. But Frank Reich has a problem now. He can't find a quarterback. Couldn't trust Carson Wentz. The owner lost his crap on Carson Wentz right from the get-go. So he didn't want anything to do with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is gone. Now in comes Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan looks like a shell of himself already as it is. So you look at it and you say, what's going to happen here? Broncos minus 170 on the money line. Colts are plus 145. Russell Wilson and the boys have not been impressive. They're 2-2. But the Colts have not been impressive at all. I'm going to go Broncos on this one. I'm going to lay the 3.5. I'm not impressed with this Broncos team, I got to tell you. I'm really not. I don't think the Broncos have a great defense, but I'm not impressed by the Colts whatsoever. And I'm certainly not impressed by Matt Ryan. And Jonathan Taylor has been a 0 this year, as you fantasy players know, and he's already out. So I don't know how really the Colts are going to go into Denver and even make this a game. I think they'll lose by 7 or more points. I'm going Broncos here. I'm laying the 3.5 here on this one. To me, I got to tell you, I think I don't know what it is. Maybe Vegas knows something I don't. By the way, we're 38, 29, and 3 against the spread in our ALennyLocksmith.com lockdown segment. We're going to go Broncos minus 3.5.
The Lockdown is brought to you by ALennyLocksmith.com. Lockouts are lock changes for home or business. Car key replacements and programming. All model cars. 24-hour service. Call them anywhere in South Florida at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at ALennyLocksmith.com where we lock it down.
Right. What we got going on? Oh, by the way, Roger has come out with a new video. Do you have Roger's video ready there, Chad? All right, bring Roger Morant on as we get ready for the Jets. And Roger does a Dolphins video every week. He puts together a video. He does a great job with it, by the way. His rapping skills are improving every week. So here is Roger Morant.
What's
Fire
up, Vince
away,
fans?
baby.
Heartfelt shout out to my man Tua.
Yeah.
Bruce, get better soon. We need you. Let's do this. The Dolphins play the New York Jets. Jets week. Without Tua, some might use the adage up the creek. Not that the Chiefs were still the team to beat. Bigger goals. Teddy B's a proven bet. Gonna take over the Met. Sending pressure at their quarterback. Young Zach, like mommy's friend, he's going to end up on his back. Purse of Tua, time for you to get some rest, because for the playoff run, we'll need you at your best. We've done the work and have the calluses. F. Sims and now is putting on a better show than the Aurora Borealis. Dimes, Teddy delivers in stride. So many stalls on offense, other teams are running high. Try to gain some yards and matriculate the ball. Attempt to run against our defenses like Simon in a wall. Coach McDaniel, he's so drippy, he will lead us to the crown. Time to bring us back to glory. Miami Dolphins, Title Town. Title Town. Waddle, waddle. Title Town. The Dolphins don't move the chains. They score with Teddy, Waddle, Wilson, Hill, and more. We're headed to the Super Bowl. You know, the Jets are standing in the way. We're going to have to make them pay. Robert Saleh taking names and keeping receipts. Hope he really likes the agony of defeat. We're going to clip their wings and bring them to the ground as Coach McDaniel leads us back to Title Town. Title Town. Waddle, waddle. Title Town. Teddy Waddle Hill. What a thrill. Teddy Waddle Hill. What a thrill. Teddy Waddle Hill. What a thrill. Cheetah.
Nice job, Roger, as always. Teddy Waddle Hill instead of Tua Waddle Hill. What a thrill. He got in Teddy Waddle Hill. And you always got to love when he goes, Waddle, Waddle. That was good. That was good. Way to go, Roger. We love you, brother. Great Dolphin fan. Always getting it done, man. Appreciate it. Just like the folks here at Hialeah Park. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's do it. All right, Chad, let's bring my man Steve Calabro on, the general manager of Hialeah Park. And here's the interesting part. I'm here at Hialeah Park, and he's going to New York, or he's in New York now, because he's going to go cheer on the Dolphins at the Meadowlands. How about that? Now, that is a fan right there. How you doing, my friend?
Big O, I'm doing great, but I want one little correction. I am a big fan of the Dolphins.
Yes.
And, you know, keeping consistent with my picks, I'm in Jersey.
Oh, okay, you're in Jersey.
Remember, the Giants and the Jets play in Jersey.
That's right.
They're
They
not
play
New York teams anymore.
Right. That's right. That's true. That's true. The Meadowlands is in Jersey.
Nobody goes to New York. Believe me, that's old school now.
That's passé, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're killing each other in the streets there, so we stay in Jersey. You know, so
you stay in Jersey, okay? Unmasked in Jersey.
Unmasked. Well, you know, I got to tell you something. There's some goofy rules here, Big O.
They still have the goofy rules over there. Damn. Dude.
Well, but it's not just the mask thing, but you know, I want to save the earth, the whole 9 yards. But they don't give you a bag, a paper bag or a plastic bag in the grocery store.
Yeah,
so you walk out of the grocery store with like this.
You got to bring reusable bags now. That California has been like that for years now.
Well, the key
in fact, in California, they charge you extra if you want a bag.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do here. But it's such a like a hypocrisy because first of all, most people forget, especially in the first year or two, right? They forget to bring their reusable bag, right? And so the grocery store buys a little crappy bag that is made out of some material that's probably going to kill the earth, right? The ozone. Right. And it's like they charge you like 49 cents and they pay about 3 cents for it. So it's actually turned into like a really, really kind of a shit show, but who knows?
Yeah.
I was in the store, just went to the store this morning and I kind of walked out like this. You know what I mean?
So you got to go get one of those plastic reusable bags, bro.
No, I have them in the car. You got to remember to bring them in.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, yeah.
Everybody's got them in their car. You just remember. But anyhow, it's all good. Jersey's good. I can tell you the weather's nice here. 75, 70 degrees is pretty nice.
Nice. There you go.
But we're looking forward to Sunday. So, I apologize in advance. I'm very casual. I have my Dolphins.
No, you never have to apologize when you have the Dolphin colors.
Yeah, so
there's nothing wrong with that.
I had to bring a couple of some of my apparel up because I'm going to the game. This is a big birthday celebration for my wife, who's also a huge Dolphin fan.
Nice.
She's the one that bought the tickets for Sunday, and then she wants to go to this game in a big way. It's going to be us and my son and my son's girlfriend, and it's going to be a great time. Now, I am worried about.
I'm jealous, by the way. And by the way, Steve, you should go buy the MetLife Takeover. Do you know what that is?
The MetLife what?
The MetLife Takeover. You should go by there in the parking lot.
Right.
You're going to see a group of 1,500 Miami Dolphin fans.
Really?
You can't miss it. Yeah, it's called #MetLife Takeover. They do it every year. Dolphins NYC, they lead the charge. They put together the whole event, and every year at the Jets game, about 1,500 fans are tailgating together. They're all in their Dolphins colors, hanging out there, and then they go right into the game and enjoy it and root on the team. But it's a really cool event. I wish I could go. I've been dying to actually go experience it and go hang out with the Dolphin fans there in New York. But if you get a chance, man, and when you park there at the stadium, go look for it. By the way, somebody watching, can you tell me exactly where the MetLife Takeover is in the parking lot? Please tell me so I can pass it on to Steve so that way he can experience it. Because I think any Dolphins fan on the planet, if you happen to be going to the Dolphins-Jets game, I think you should go and hang out at the MetLife Takeover with the fans in the pregame, because I think it's the pictures that come out of that, Steve, are just beautiful, bro. They go all over the world because people are, Dolphin fans all over the world are checking it out like, holy crap, look, it's a Jets game, and there's, 1,500 Dolphin fans hanging out, having some fun. It's the coolest thing. So if somebody knows exactly where the Dolphin NYC Club is holding the MetLife Takeover in the parking lot, please tell us and pass it on to us because we need that information. All right,
I appreciate that. We're going to be there because we're planning on going up early, doing the tailgating thing. So we'll look for it. And with us is it's myself, my wife, my stepson, and his girlfriend. Although I don't know if the girlfriend is a Dolphin fan. I heard that she was a Cowboy fan, but at least 3 out of 4 are Dolphin fans.
Well, maybe. I mean, if she wants to suffer, go ahead.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If you want to count on Jerry Jones, you kind of made your bed, and it is what it is. What are you going to do? All right, exactly. So what do the wise guys have for us this week?
Well, the wise guy. So
wise guy.
Remember, he was only 1-2 last week, and he kind of was crying the blues. He said, "I had the Cowboys," and then he said, "The Steelers were winning by 10 points with 7 minutes to go, and it was a good pick." I said, "It wasn't a good pick. You lost in the end." So, and anyway, here's what
next time you tell him, no, it was a bad Pickett. Kenny Pickett. He threw 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll be fine, by the way. I like that kid, actually.
So here's what I think is here's the first pick I like a lot, and it's the Bengals.
Okay.
And they're getting 3 points. I think Burrows is going to tear apart the secondary of the Ravens. I also, now this is not the Jersey guys pick, but I happen to like the over in this game too. It's 48.5 points. I think Lamar can put up a lot of points. I think the Ravens defense gives up a lot of passing yardage. They're better than they were when they played the Dolphins, but they're still a little bit like a bit of a sieve. And I think Burrow's going to go crazy on them, or not crazy, but have some success against them. So Burrow getting 3 points and the Bengals getting 3 points. I like that. That's the Jersey guys pick.
Okay.
The next one, I don't know. I mean, sometimes the Jersey guy does this, and I think he's nuts about it. But so he likes the Bucks. I'm going to give you. I love the reason that he gave me. So the Bucks are playing I believe they're playing Atlanta.
They're playing at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's terrible.
I'm saying I said that wrong. So, but they're giving up a lot of points.
6.5. Yeah. Bucks are minus 6.5. I'm with the Jersey guy.
Okay. I mean,
Pittsburgh's terrible, dude. They're not.
They are.
They're not a good team. And on top of that, the Bucks defense is all right. Kenny Pickett is, as much as I like Kenny Pickett, he's still a young quarterback. Young quarterbacks are going to screw up all over the place. That's why I laugh when people, go start Skyler. It's like, bro, Skyler's a 7th-round pick. Yeah. Take it easy, bro. I get it. He looked great in the preseason, but, this is the NFL. When you get to the regular season, they start playing for real. You're playing against junkyard dogs that are playing for 3 wives, 4 girlfriends, 8 houses, and 4 cars. They got a lot of bills, bro. These people are hungry. They're coming after you. You know what I mean? These are grown ass men. So Kenny Pickett, I expect him to struggle. To me, like people, oh wow, what a disaster. I'm like, bro, that's a rookie quarterback. They're supposed to do stupid stuff like that and throw 3 interceptions. So I love the Bucks beating Pittsburgh by 7. So I'm with him on that one.
So the Jersey guy's opinion is completely different, though. Here's why he likes the Bucks.
Okay.
He says that Tom Brady's life is in a little bit disarray, and he's going to take it out on somebody. He's going to take it out on somebody on Sunday. He's got with all the news that they're hiring divorce attorneys and blah 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 and living apart.
Well, I know what's going to happen. One of the receivers, Mike Evans, is going to walk over. Hey, Tom, between you and me, I heard that corner's banging Giselle. And that's it. That's all. It's over. It's over. And then on the next down, hey, I heard the other corner also had a piece of her. And that's it. He's just going to start lighting them up. So that's what you do. You play the whole Giselle thing on him and just psych him out the entire time.
Well, this is exactly the Jersey guy's theory is, that it's all going to be about that. So, and the other pick, I just had it here on my phone. I just got it back. So the next one is he likes the 49ers. I don't know. I like Garoppolo. Sometimes I think Garoppolo's a little bit under-respected. So what's your opinion on that one? So his picks are Bengals, Bucks, and 49ers.
Well, he's picking 3 doozies. You know why? Well, the Bengals and the Rams one, that one's a little shady. That one's kind of – the Rams are in a must-win situation now because they've gotten beaten down a couple times here. That one's kind of – I'm not as big on that one. But Bucks, I love over Pittsburgh. And San Fran – Atlanta's terrible. They are terrible. And San Fran's defense is wicked.
Exactly.
So – I'm not a big believer in Jimmy Garoppolo in money moments, but when you're playing Atlanta, there's no money involved. There's nothing involved. It's a free flowing game. You know what? I'm with him on the last 2 picks. The Bengals at Rams, I would probably leave that game. I would not take the Bengals. I could see the Bengals losing by a touchdown if the Rams actually show up a little bit here and play some defense.
So moving on to something else. What's your opinion? And I'm going to give you my opinion about the whole concept of the second string quarterback in the NFL. And of course, now as a Dolphin fan, we got to root for our second string guy.
Right.
It's pretty interesting when you look at some of the second string quarterbacks. Some teams have some horrible second string quarterbacks. Our guy isn't that bad, but he's still,
he's not bad. He's not bad.
He's not bad, but he's not a first string quarterback. No. But he's not a first string quarterback for a reason. You know what I mean? that's the thing.
Hey, listen, you're talking to the guy that has always said Teddy Bridgewater's a backup, even when he was starting. So it doesn't matter to me. He's never been an explosive quarterback. It's just the way it is. I'm with you. But I like Teddy as where he's at now. I love it. As a backup quarterback, that's where he belongs. A guy that can hopefully keep the ship afloat for a game or two or something like that while the guy comes back. That's fine. If he has to carry you for a whole season, you're screwed. You're not going anywhere. But filling in, Steve, he's probably one of the top 10 backup quarterbacks in the NFL.
I got him in the top half of the quarterbacks. I'm probably in the 10 to 15, 10 to 16 range in terms of backup quarterbacks.
For sure.
So that leads me to the next question, and next point I want to make is maybe it's one, maybe it's 2 games that he can handle. After that, if he has to go 3 or 4 games, I think we're up shit.
Oh yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. But no, I think Tua's back for. Let's bring him back again for Pickett and the Steelers.
Yeah,
I think that I've said this all week. This is my prediction. Teddy plays this week, and then Teddy gets to play against his former team next week. Everybody gets to write all the fluff pieces about him playing the Vikings and all that stuff. Yeah. And then Pittsburgh, Brian Flores.
Sunday night.
Sunday night. No, and Tua wants to beat Brian Flores' ass. So he's going to play for that game, bro. He's going to feel so good during the week of Minnesota that they're going to go, okay, he looks good enough to play this week, but we're going to hold him out because once you get to Pittsburgh, it's now 24 days that he's been off. So the optics are beautiful. Oh, no, they gave him 24 days, this, that. Okay, great. That's it. So to me, that's what I think is going to happen. They're going to play Teddy for 2 games, and especially if they win this week, Steve, now you're 4-1. You got some momentum. You can say, all right, worst case scenario, even if we lose next week 4-2, Tua can take over at 4-2. You've got 11 games left, plenty of time to keep racking up the wins and get into the playoffs. So that's my prediction.
I'm on board with that prediction, except I shouldn't say I'm on board with it. I get it. But I think it's a little more rushed than that. I think he's only going to be out 1 week. And I'm okay with that. Forget the optics and all that kind of crap. But I think he's back for Minnesota. This way Tua gets back into the scheme of things, and he's on fire for the Pittsburgh game. I think I'd hate to have him come back. I don't know. I don't like him coming back after 24 days off for a Sunday night, feature game. The world's going to be watching it. I'd rather him come back against Minnesota because I don't think Minnesota's that good. I think they're average at best. And I think
Minnesota's better than Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, but that's not that hard. It's not that hard to do. Pittsburgh's pretty bad this year.
Well, that's why I'm saying that it's not really.
Oh, you're saying take 2 up. I don't know. That's
what I'm saying. Teddy knows that team. Right, so maybe that might help him a little bit, and he'll be inspired to play Minnesota.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. You know what I mean? He had a couple of just in training camp with the Jets. He never made the team because he got traded to New Orleans. I think he got traded, and then he did play for Minnesota for several years.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be. Usually, those kind of dudes are motivated to play against their former teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I just think, and the optics also. The optics may not look as good, Steve, if it's only 1 game, But if you say 2 games and it's 24 days, because remember you had the 10 days off after the Thursday.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden now you've got 24 days. The optics look beautiful, and he only missed 2 games. And if you split them, you're fine. If you win both, oh my God. If you're 5-1 and you're handing the game, the season back to 2 at 5-1, oh my God, they're going to win 12, 13 games, man.
All right, before I go, I'm going to go fast forward now. What do you think about Tua in what I call the long term? 3 years from now, 2 years from now, 4 years from now. Because there's guys that are out there. This is the regular media, not really the sports media. But there are guys that are out there saying, I'm a so-and-such specialist neurosurgeon, blah, 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 and he should stop playing right now. Like, when you hear shit like that, that's tough.
I laugh at clowns like that.
I know, but it's being said, and it's
now.
and it's
I get look, and people, you guys know out there. The one thing I've hated about this last week is something I never do on this show, and I've done it way too much on this show this week, and I've repeated material like crazy because the same subject comes up. So let me ask you, Steve, are they telling the race car driver not to race 220 miles an hour?
I know.
Are you going to stop giving a gun to a 20-year-old and say, go defend our country? Are you going to tell the miner not to go back into the mines and breathe all that shit that's fucking them up for the rest of their lives? Are you going to tell a policeman not to police the streets because his wife or her husband has no idea if he or she is going to come back, at the end of the day? Are you going to tell a fireman not to run into a blazing building? I mean, I can just go on and on and on and on and talk about so many jobs that people put their lives on their line or their health at risk every single day. Go read the Joe Burrow interview that just came out. He's had concussions. He's forgotten half of games. And he goes, man, we know what we signed up for. They know what they signed up for, dude.
I know.
That it's convenient for that doctor to say that because, he's a brain surgeon and all that. But I get it. He's not a daredevil. So you're not going to tell Evel Knievel to stop jumping canyons and fountains and breaking bones and all. It's what they do. You're going to tell the wrestler not to dive off the top of the ring that's 20 feet tall because he's on a ladder and he's landing on another human being. So one, are you going to tell the person not to dive in you? Or are you going to tell the other person on the floor, hey, you might want to move when somebody's about to land on you? You know what I'm saying? It's the most ridiculous thing. We all choose to run our lives however it is we want to do it. And that's our prerogative, as Bobby Brown would say. And this is Tua's prerogative. And so Cameron Brate last week, did you see that?
Yeah.
He got knocked out. He came right back.
Yeah.
And he came right back.
But I'm saying, Big O, what I'm saying is, this is just a good example of it's because it's not really it's more in the traditional media than the sports media.
I get it because the traditional media, because most of them also don't have a job that it requires balls and guts and risks. And so so it's easy for them to say, here, let me give you the answer to everything you want to know. Okay? Everything is to be blamed on Tua Tagovailoa, not the NFL, not the NFLPA, not the doctors, nobody else. Here you go. We did the homework already. And I've been talking about this all week. Again, I hate to repeat, but we do it. Do you know Tua blew out both of his ankles at Alabama? Mm-hmm. Did you know he fused them with Kevlar wire? Did you know that?
I didn't know what the fix was, but I knew he blew him out.
You also know he blew out his hip, correct?
His hip, yeah. That was in his senior year.
And you just saw the concussion now on Thursday night. Okay. So Tua's biggest problem is Tua Tagovailoa. When he blew out his ankle, it was at the 3.89 second mark. When he blew out his second ankle, it was at the 4.55 second mark.
When
he blew out his hip, 5 seconds. When he got concussed, 5 seconds. What Tua Tagovailoa needs to learn is how to get rid of the football.
Dump the ball.
He's got to stop playing hero ball. So the problem I have with all these people on their soapboxes and these doctors and all these freaking idiots, okay? I get it. He got concussed against Buffalo in the first half. Did it affect the second half? No. He came back and threw the kill shot.
Yeah.
Thursday, he was dealing. There were no effects from Sunday on Thursday. What affected him on Thursday night was that he chose to hang on to the ball for 5 seconds. And a fat guy caught him. And a fat guy caught him to blow out his hip also. So by now, he hasn't figured out that he is not an athlete. He does not have Russell Wilson's wheels. He cannot run like Kyler Murray. Bro, get rid of the ball. When the play's dead, just live for the next play. And do me a favor, Chad. Bring up the video of young Tua. Okay? I'm going to bring up a video of Tua talking to the Hawaiian newspaper. And this is high school Tua. High school Tua being asked about taking hits. High school Tua will tell you about how his father reacts to this. So this is the most disturbing video that I have found in the last 2 days, because this video now shakes me to my core, because Tua Tagovailoa can go to the Hall of Fame, can probably win a title for the Miami Dolphins, but he will not be able to make it to year 5 or 6 if he keeps hanging on to the football. So pull it up there, Chad, for me. I'm gonna play this video for you. It's really short. It's only 1 minute. And for those of you that haven't seen it, I hope you're sitting down for this, okay? Because this is kind of disturbing when you see this video and when you hear him, what he's talking about, and then you see 7 years later and the problems still persist. Shut down our mics while you do this, Chad, so that way there's no echo from Tua. Here we go. You got it, Chad?
I think he's probably like the middle of the road where he's hard on you guys, but he backs off when
He's
it's necessary.
understanding.
He seems like that.
He's understanding.
But I don't know. I don't live
No,
in the
yeah.
house.
He's understanding, but he's very, very strict with a lot of things. But he's very understanding. That's what I love so much about my dad. You know, whether I do something bad, as long as I make him understand as to why, you know, I kind of did it. Like, I mean, running the ball, and if I hit somebody, oh my gosh. When I get in the car, oh, you don't hear the end of it. My dad gets so mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
I tell him, you know, I don't know how to slide. You know, he tells me to practice sliding. I tell him, okay. And then the next time I do it again, oh gosh. That's when I get disciplined.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
oh,
Michael Vick learned to slide. Yeah, I mean, he ran a 4.3 or 4.2. So okay.
4.2, I think.
Yeah, but he was never a big guy. You're getting, you're pretty thick. So he had to do it, or he would have gotten crumbled.
That reporter obviously was wrong about the size and all that. But Tua needs to. But listen to that. So his father, and as you know, Tua has an incredible family and a great foundation. So his father, who he adores and loves, has been ripping into him since he was in high school, not to take hits. So you go through college, you blow out ankles, hips, you get to the NFL, you're still doing it. 7 years later. To me, that's disturbing. I got to tell you.
Listen, Big O, I agree with you. His problem is he's holding on to the ball. Look at the good quarterbacks. Even Brady and the Drew Breeses of the world and Peyton, they threw it away, threw it out of bounds. You just throw it out of bounds.
Marino was the best at that, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Marino was the best at. He didn't waste any time. He threw it away right away.
Most of not all, but most of the quarterbacks that lasted, 15 and 20 years, they're throwing the ball away, 5 or 6 times a game. But I think what Tua's doing is he's just trying to win every game. He's just trying to be the hero. And so it is concerning, if he doesn't change. Look, I'm wishing him the best.
Of course, we all do.
I worry about, if he's playing in his 5th or 6th year, because if he keeps hanging on to the ball.
Oh, no, he won't last.
He's going to get – these guys are faster and bigger, and the defenses are – everybody's an all-star. In high school, there was 2 all-stars on the other side. In college, there was 6 all-stars. Now there's 11 on the other side, 10 or 11 all-star kind of guys. So I tend to agree with you, but let's see what happens. I am worried about –
I hope he – somebody brought this up. The equation that has – the one thing in this equation that has not existed is a wife. He now has a wife. So if there's anybody
that can get to him,
it's true. The wife, bro. It's the wife, man. And listen, I don't know if she's pregnant or not or whatever. Who knows? What about if they're planning for a family and she tells him, "Are you going to keep doing this? Because We plan to have a family, and this is not going to help or whatever. The wife is the only one that can possibly reach him because, dude, if the old man can't reach him, that's scary. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Tua about this when he has his next press conference. I will be the one that will ask him, and I will tell him, I think it's your fault, not anybody else's. You're hanging on to the ball.
Yeah.
Way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. You got to stop this hero ball shit. I won't say it like that, but I will phrase it like, hero ball is what's putting you in the hospital. Hero ball is what's putting you in pain. Why do you keep doing this? I don't get it.
I agree with you 1,000%. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Maybe the coach is going to help him out, but I think you're right. The wife is probably the one that could get to him with the most profound way. And I
give the listeners credit on that one. They figured that one out. I did not.
I'm gonna just before I'm just gonna change direction. Just want to remind you, it's just a quick one. We're giving away on the Saturday night of Thanksgiving weekend. We're giving away the Ford 150 Lightning. It's out in front of the building.
I talked about it earlier on the show. I did.
I test drove it. Big O, you need to drive it. I don't know. We still have to see how it lasts for a year or two. But
it's a good truck, man.
Listen, next week. Next week I'm going to be in Vegas, but the following week. I'm sorry, I'm traveling a little. We're on the move a little.
Oh yeah, Wow, what a rough life you have.
No, we're buying slot
Jets
machines.
and the Knicks and Jets and the Dolphins, and now you're going over to Vegas. Look at you.
Well, I got to buy slot machines. That's what it's the show of the year where we buy slot machines.
Well, why aren't you taking us there? We can do the show from out there.
You didn't ask. All you have to do is ask. We got room on the plane, but listen.
Chad wants to go to Vegas, bro. I mean, Chad hasn't been to Vegas. Look at him. He wants to go to Vegas badly.
Listen, not next week. The following week. Before or after the show, we're going to go outside and you're going to test drive it. We have the service road. When you punch it, I'm telling you, it was almost going. I swear this is going to sound weird. Going too fast.
Oh yeah,
it seemed like it got too fast too soon. It went from 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds or something ridiculous. Yeah. And it felt it. And it's light.
I'm going to cruise on the back on the yard in the back here, so I can go. Is the tunnel still there?
The tunnel's still there, but it's
there water?
Tunnel, I don't know if you're going. You won't be able to go through the tunnel. No way. You won't be able to control it. But I'm
brother. Years ago, I'm talking 30 years ago. Okay, I'm 56. No, man, it's more than that. It was 40 years ago because I was about 16, 17 years old. So I would meet my dad out here at Hialeah Park. Right, he'd bet on some horses for the hell of it. We'd always have lunch here because that's what we did a lot. We'd always meet here at Hialeah Park and have lunch. And so, but one of the things that I would do with my car is go haul ass in that back parking lot and do the tunnel because there was nobody back there even in those days. You could actually do it. You know what I mean?
You can't. This car goes too fast. You'll see it in 2 weeks. You're going to test drive it. It is unbelievably fast. I'm a little bit sold on it.
Listen, if I could afford it, I would buy that truck right away.
It's not that pricey. It's not that pricey. I'm telling you. So
anyway, I know, but maybe it might not be pricey at all for me because I'm going to go. All you have to do is go downstairs. You get your play card.
You play your card. You play on the more times you play on a slot machine, the more entries you get.
Right.
You come here on the Saturday Thanksgiving, boom. We give you.
But you have to be present too, right?
Must be present on Saturday. Yeah. You earn entries from October 1st to the Saturday of Thanksgiving, and we put the entries into a big bin, and somebody's going home with an F-150 that night.
It might be me because I'm gonna definitely put in some entries downstairs. I'm gonna go play some machines. And I'm gonna put some entries, bro. I would love to win that F-150.
You're gonna be surprised.
I'm not an employee, folks, so I am eligible. So don't start that shit.
Yeah, I'm not eligible, but I can tell you,
you're not eligible, but I'm eligible.
But you like the truck already, and you're gonna be impressed. Yeah. You're gonna be more impressed than you think.
Yeah, I'm dying to get an electric car. I've been telling the folks at Acura, it's I think I have to wait till next summer when they're going to have their first electric vehicle. And that's the next time I will get a car. I want to get an electric vehicle. But, man, that F-150.
This is a nice one. It's got speed.
It's badass.
Which is surprising, but
yeah.
anyhow,
No. A lot of these electric cars, they move, man. They move, and it's nice because it's quiet.
Yeah, it's a little weird. You got to get used to it when you don't even know it's on. You know, you're backing up. You're not sure if it's on or not. You know, it's a little bit weird, but the speed was what stunned me. So anyhow, I'm going to sign.
All right, my brother. Enjoy New York or Jersey, and enjoy the Dolphin win because they're going to win.
We're there. Okay? All right. Thanks for the tip on the parking lot. Thank you.
MetLife takeover. You got it. Thank you, my brother. There you go, Steve Calabro, Hialeah Park's general manager. You got it. Seriously, you should come to Hialeah Park and just play some gaming machines. Just a few if you want, just to get a couple of entries in there, man. I'm going to do it just for the hell of it because I seriously want to win that F-150. That would be awesome to win that F-150. It would be fantastic to win that F-150. All right, what do we got here on the chat board? Let's see. You can't stop Tua for balling out. Sorry, but he's a professional player and he plays to win the game. Yeah, but you got to play smart. That has nothing to do with that. Rosendo, that makes zero sense, my brother. You know I got nothing but love for you, but you got to play the game smart. So playing the game smart and playing to win is by being available also. So if you bust out your hip and you're done for the year, you're not helping your team. If you are getting concussed and you're out for a couple games now, you're not helping this team. So there's a way of playing because Marino was great at getting rid of the football. Whenever he felt the pressure, forget about it. It was over. He was going to take a hit. And that's all I'm asking for the kid to do. Just get rid of the football and don't take the hit. Any doctor examining Tua now will be extremely cautious, so I'm fine with what they say and when they say Tua can play. Yeah. Preach Orlando. Thank you. What's the difference between 24 days and a month? Not much left. Let the man rise trying to force a narrative. I know he's going to be right by the end of the day. I think he'll be fine to play this week. I bet you he's got the cobwebs already out, and I bet he doesn't have any symptoms anymore. I bet by Sunday. He's probably going to be ready to play for Minnesota. I say Pittsburgh because there's no doubt in my mind. Rob Budd is asking, where is Dudley? I would imagine he's at his house, my friend. You should go check it out. I don't know if you thought Dudley was supposed to be on today or something, but he's not. Tomorrow. Big O, why didn't the Dolphins ever give Jakeem Grant the sticky stuff on his gloves from the replacements? What's the line? Orlando, whatever. Is it Orlando? Is his name Orlando Brown? Right? It's Orlando. I know he's got my first name, but he said that he was, I don't want to get so vulgar, but I guess playing with an elephant, right? I looked like I was playing with an elephant, right? I think that was his line. And I think it's Orlando. Is it Brown? Is that his name? Why am I saying Orlando Brown? Am I right? Am I right or am I wrong? Because I'm pretty sure his name is Orlando. So I think Sean is. I'm sorry, Chad. I think not Sean. I think Chad is looking it up for me now. Big O, thank you for putting me on with Miss Valunza. Did I spell it right? One of my favorite teachers. Well, thank you, Shard. I'm glad my wife did a good job. Yeah, it's an E, V-E. But yes, Orlando Jones. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you.
But there is an Orlando Brown. He's an offensive tackle for the Chiefs.
Yeah. No. But I'm talking about the actor and the replacements, and he's right. It's Jones. I had Jones Brown. Why? Because I knew it was one of those common names. I knew it for sure. I remember that his name was my name, Orlando, but the last name is the one that I was kind of like, okay, I know it's a really easy name, and Jones it is. It was a funny ass line on his part. I really want him to be labeled the fourth quarter king, but you have to be able to play a whole season to be categorized as such. Yeah, no, hopefully he will, man. You just need him to be smart, man. We can't let go of Gesicki, especially after that gritty. I don't think that they're going to let him go. I think that they would trade him, if anything, by the deadline. But if he doesn't fit what you do, folks, yeah, come on. That's the thing. He doesn't fit. What are you going to do? All righty. We thank Franco Panizzo for joining us on the show, Craig Mish, Alan Poupart, and Steve Calabro. Again, my man Chad did an excellent job of driving the program this afternoon. Appreciate you, Chad. Thank you, sir. He'll be back with us on Saturday, working the Canes and UNC game, which, by the way, we're going to be at walk-ons now for all Canes games, 162nd and Kendall Drive. Come on out and join us. We'll be on 2 hours before the game. We'll get there around 1 o'clock. Mike and McCoy and myself will be out there, so come on out and join us. The food is amazing. The bar is ginormous and beautiful, man. It's a brand new giant bar. TVs everywhere. Food's great. Drinks are great. Great specials going on. We'll have giveaways. We'll have all kinds of stuff as the season goes on. So we've got a lot of things planned. So appreciate all of you if you come on out and join us. And let's make it a big crowd out there at walk-ons on Saturday, 2 o'clock for the Canes. And then on Sunday, we'll get you ready for the Dolphins at 11 a.m. for that 1 o'clock kickoff against the Jets. Got all of that going on, folks. So appreciate all of you out there. Rub-a-dub-dub, before I go, thank you, sir, for the love of the super chat. He says, Tua doesn't need to hold on to the ball longer than 3 seconds. Stats say Hill gets 10 yards per second, and Tua's throwing the ball before Hill's 30 yards downfield on deep balls. Yes, sir. Nobody's going to argue with that, my friend. And thank you for the super chat, but Tua's got to get rid of the football, man. We want him to be here for forever. You know, I want him to retire here. I want to see Tua's name in the Ring of Honor. I want to see Tua go into the Hall of Fame. But more importantly, I want to see Tua lead the Miami Dolphins to another Super Bowl. And, you know, listen, I've been the guy that's always believed in this kid. And I believe in him that he can be the franchise quarterback and lead this team to a Super Bowl. I've always said that. I think he's a baller. But he's got that one bad habit he's got to shake. And let's hope that he's able to, you know, get rid of it. All right, we're out of here. Chad, thank you, bro. Excellent work. And thanks to the Brunetti family, Steve Calabo, Frank Fiore, everybody that makes it possible for us to do it here every week. And don't forget, come on down, man. Play the slots. Get your entries in. Try to win that Ford F-150. And listen, if you don't want the Ford F-150 and you win it, you can give it to me. That's not a problem. I'll take the gift. Oh, Chad says he wants it too. See, so, you know, not only if you have a car and you're happy with it, come on over. Get the F-150 and pass it on to me if you want. It's not a problem. Anyway, we'll see you all tomorrow. We'll be in studio. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.